To 6 for 12 points. The Chicago Bulls went 61-21 during the regular season. Best record in the history of the franchise. Only the 9th team in NBA history to win 60 games in a season. They have swept through the playoffs. Beat the Knicks 3 in a row. Won the first game by 41 points. Knocked off the Sixers in 5. Defeated Detroit in a 4-game sweep. This their first ever trip to the finals in their 25-year history. And they are now 24 and 7/10 seconds away from a championship. They lead by 6. Divac from three-point land. Michael Jordan gets to it. As we come up on 10 seconds remaining, he's fouled by Green. And the Bulls beginning to celebrate. 11 and 4/10 seconds remaining. The Chicago Bulls on the verge of taking 3 out of 3 from the Lakers in Los Angeles. Tonight's Miller Genuine Draft Player of the Game, the man with the hot hand down the stretch, John Paxson, who ripped this game open. And on behalf of John, NBC and Miller Genuine Draft will donate $1,000 to the Thurgood Marshall Scholarship Fund. Michael Jordan with 30 points. The Bulls lead by 7. Final seconds, Magic's three-point attempt blocked. Pippen comes away with it. And the Chicago Bulls have won their first ever NBA championship. The Bulls, greeted by a portion of this foreign crowd as they try to get back to their locker room. For the Lakers, a different story. The Chicago Bulls' domination of this series has to be considered a major surprise. Mike, there was no reason to believe that the Lakers would fall apart so dramatically.
I think it was a combination of things. I'm not quite sure that everyone gave the Bulls the credit they deserved throughout the season. I think everyone felt the balance of power was in the West this year, that Portland, in fact, was the best team, and when the Lakers got by them, that the Lakers then were just going to put the Bulls away. But the Bulls team was a deceiving team. They did it with a very intricate offense in the half-court area, the ability to score in transition, and then the great team defense.
And Michael Jordan has answered a couple of questions. There have been doubters over the years whether a team led by Jordan could win a championship, and it is so rare for a team that has a scoring champion to go the distance.
Anyone who ever questioned whether Michael Jordan was willing to give up and sacrifice for a championship was completely wrong. It was a case that Jordan is such a great winner, such a great competitor, and wanted so badly. In the early stages, he took maybe too much upon himself, but only trying to win because he knew the supporting cast had not developed yet. But once they stepped up their level of play, the Pippen moving to a new level, Cartwright doing the job in the middle, Paxson knocking out the open shots, and then Grant blossoming into the player he did, then Jordan was willing to spread the wealth around.
And the last time that Phil Jackson won a championship in the NBA, he was a member of the New York Knicks. And the Knicks clinched on this same court here at the Forum back in the 72-73 season when they were able to defeat the Los Angeles Lakers in 5. With the victory over Detroit in the Eastern Conference Final, the Bulls felt that they had grown up, they had matured, they felt the difference, and that particular level was all about a mental state of mind. We discussed this in the past. They said that in previous seasons, the Pistons' mind games would get to them. Well, they got past that plateau. They came out very aggressively. Michael Jordan setting the stage in that series, and then they go on after losing the opening game at home. They go on to knock off the Lakers in 5.
But wasn't it a maturing factor, very similar to Detroit? They grew up.
Thank you.
on to the finals. They lose to the Lakers, but learn a lesson. They come back and win 2 world championships back-to-back. The Bulls have learned their lessons well. They've grown up. They win a championship.
The celebration has begun in the Chicago locker room, and they are celebrating in Chicago as the Bulls take the Lakers in 5.
The NBA on NBC is brought to you by cold-filtered Miller Genuine Draft, who salutes the hottest team in the NBA. So get out of the old, get into the cold.
The Chicago Bulls have done it, and on the home floor of the Los Angeles Lakers, doing what the Pistons did last year in Portland, winning all 3 on the road, 108-101 the final. Here's Phil Jackson, the victorious coach, Jerry Reinsdorf, the principal owner, David Stern, the commissioner of the NBA, with the Larry O'Brien trophy, emblematic of the championship. In comes the general manager, Jerry Krause. Commish, it's all yours.
America was watching, and they saw 2 great teams. Congratulations to the Chicago Bulls and their great fans. Here it goes.
Commissioner, thank you so much. I'm the least important guy here, but it's an honor to take this on behalf of a great organization and the wonderful fans of Chicago.
A quick word from Phil Jackson. Amid the bedlam, you were part of Knick championships. I don't think anyone can see us. I know they can't see me. Maybe they can see the top of your head. What does it mean to you, Phil?
Well, Bob, if I could have a moment here behind Stacey King. I was right here about 18 years ago when we won the championship, and it's a very meaningful thing. There's no doubt about it. It's much better winning as a coach than as a player, surprisingly.
Any thoughts about Red Holtzman, who I guess was a mentor and was the Knick coach of those 2 championships?
Well, we tried to do it the way he taught me how to do it, with poise, hit the open man, and that was successful for us.
Somewhere amid the bedlam, here we go. Where's Michael? Where's Michael? Let's get John Paxson over here while we can. John. Give me a little space. As wild a scene as I've ever witnessed. I assume we're still on the air from here. John Paxson on fire in the 4th quarter with your brother, former NBA player, your dad who played with the Minneapolis Lakers in attendance.
I'm just glad I was able to step up, and I got the shots and I knocked them down. I'm happy for the guys in this room and the coaching staff. We put in a lot of hard work to get here.
John, congratulations.
Thanks a lot, Bob. Appreciate it.
All right, let's see if we can find Michael Jordan or Scottie Pippen. Scottie. Excuse me, Craig. Scottie Pippen, your thoughts? Huh? Your thoughts on the championship?
It was a great win for us. We worked for this all season, and everybody really came out and gave a great effort today. But you got to give credit to the Lakers. They really came out. They came at us, and they made us give second thoughts about winning this game here. But we still had enough guts to keep playing hard to get it.
Your thoughts on your role defensively on Magic, that big switch before Game 2?
Well, it's helped us out a lot. And I think Michael realized that by stepping up and putting a lot more pressure on Magic. And I think that's why Phil stuck with Michael, because he was able to put a lot more pressure than what he did in Game 1.
Scottie, congratulations.
Thanks a lot.
Where's Michael? Horace Grant. Somebody go get Michael, and we'll talk to Horace Grant. Unsung hero.
I mean, everybody's a hero. I mean, we played together. The unity was there. The chemistry was there. Thank God. Thank God.
Were you surprised by the effort of the Lakers with their backs to the wall?
Oh, no, not at all. We knew they were going to come out and give a very good effort, but I felt that our defense came to play.
I'm going to try and go down into the crowd and get to Michael Jordan. Guys, excuse me. Let me get through here. Michael Jordan is the unanimous MVP. He got all 11 votes. Here we are with Michael, surrounded by his mom and his dad and wife. Under the hat, that wasn't fair, but I'm covered with champagne. I can hardly see. Michael, what does it mean to you?
It means so much. I mean, not just for me, but for the team, for the whole city. It's been a 7-year struggle. I mean, when I first got into Chicago, we started at the bottom, and every year we just worked harder and harder until we got to it. And, it's so gratifying. You know, I'm appreciated so long in my life. You know, for my family, for my kids, everything. It's the most proud day I've ever had.
We read that when they broached the subject of the "I'm going to Disney World" commercial to you, you said only if all my teammates are involved.
Yeah, I wanted that to happen. You know, for them. You know, they deserve it. Whatever I get, whatever financial situation I get from that, I'm gonna spread it amongst the team. I didn't want it. I want the team to have it. I want everybody to prosper from this whole event. You know, it took a team to get to this point.
Is there a sense of completeness and fulfillment for you now that might not have been there for all your other achievements before?
Well, I wanted to get here. If I never got here, I would never have been disappointed about my career. But you know, it caps it off. You know, it means a lot to me. It means a lot to the city. I'm just happy that I was able to be a part of history in the city of Chicago.
Is there a feeling of a passing of the torch, Magic Johnson, to you? And did you have any words with him toward the end of the game?
Well, I know we expressed our love for each other and the love of competition. You know, he thanked me. He certainly was very glad for me. But passing the torch, I mean, the NBA has got so many players that represents them, and I'm just happy to be a part of it. And I think besides myself, David Robinson, Charles Barkley, all these other guys, is going to carry the label of the NBA from now on, and I'm just glad I'm a part of it.
Do you have a quick thought about your husband's feats of daring do here?
I'm just very proud of him, and I'm excited that they won the championship, and Chicago's very excited. He deserved everything.
What are you going to do next? How are you going to spend your off-season?
With my family, play a lot of golf if she lets me. I'm just going to relax and enjoy this.
Michael, congratulations.
Thank you.
Let's go back to Marv Albert.
All right, Bob and Pat, your feelings from the Laker point of view, so much trade speculation, particularly involving James Worthy. What do you feel is next for your former club?
Well, I don't think that has anything to do with it right now, Marv. You have to give the Bulls a lot of credit. They were dominating throughout this series. They probably had the best run of any team since the Milwaukee Bucks back in 1971 as far as dominating a series. I do believe the Lakers have a lot to be proud of. It's one of those things that they have to deal with. They'll come back just as strong last year.
All right, let's go over to Steve Jones.
All right, Magic, it was a tough loss, but you guys let it all hang out tonight. What do you think was really the telling blow in this ballgame? I'd say it was the song. 91-90, you had the lead. They played that song, You Love It, L.A.
Well, I think, Steve, you getting me. I think that, you know, they hit some big shots. You know, Pippen hit a big three, and then John just got crazy on us and hit all the shots.
All right, what about this business about retiring? I know it's just business.
No, I never said it. I said that I always evaluate myself after the season and see. And somebody said, well, you think about retiring? I said, only way I think about retiring if I just don't feel like playing. So I'll be back, you know. They the one said it. I didn't say it.
All right, you got it. Back to you, Marv.
All right, Steve, as we have discussed on many an occasion, Mike, the Chicago Bulls are not just a team of superstars. It is a team of pieces, and several of those pieces have their contracts coming up. Talking about the likes of John Paxson, along with Scottie Pippen and Bill Cartwright.
Well, when you talk about Michael Jordan, he's in a world on his own, and then Scottie Pippen has raised his game to a new level, but the others just fit in the right way. The jigsaw puzzle fit together very well for Chicago. They can't afford to let anyone walk away.
Well, it appears that Mike will be back with us next season on NBC, but the fellow to my far left is headed to Gotham Town. And Pat, best of luck in your future coaching endeavors.
I appreciate it. It's been wonderful working with everybody, Bob, Marv, Mike, and I'll probably see you somewhere.
All right, we'd like to thank all of you for a terrific season of NBA basketball here on NBC. After 25 years, the Bulls are NBA champions.
Chicago Bulls and their fans. A night of victory, hard won, and a night of memories to last a lifetime. It's the first NBA championship title for the Bulls, a win that unleashes a celebration 25 years in the making. Good evening, I'm Carol Marine. Ron Majors and Mark Giangreco are live at the Forum where the Bulls are celebrating. We switch right now to Mark outside the Bulls locker room with Phil Jackson.
Well, Carol, actually, we're inside the Bulls locker room with John Paxson and Phil Jackson. John, you took over this game. You shot 65% for the series. You were radar down the stretch, and it couldn't have happened to a nicer guy.
Well, I appreciate that, Mark. I really do. I'm just really happy I was able to step up and contribute to this win. We worked real hard to get here. I mean, I'm proud of the fact that these 12 guys and the coaches were the ones that did it.
This was a microcosm of the series. Every time the Lakers threw a surge at you, you were able to counter with your own and keep them away.
I'll tell you, this would have been a great win for them had they won because they played some young people off the bench. But we just stuck with it and made some big shots down the stretch. I mean, with 15 seconds left, I mean, you can just feel the energy, and it's an unbelievable feeling. I mean, it's the greatest.
Everybody around the NBA and across the nation knows who you are now.
Well, that's good. I'm glad to know. Maybe they won't call me Jim as much now.
Well, your brother's got to be happy. You know, we talked to him earlier. Where does this rate in your life, this championship?
I'll tell you what, outside the birth of my 2 boys who are back home, who I love dearly, this is right up there. I mean, there's nothing better than this.
This place is a madhouse. You were very concerned you couldn't get your wife,
Caroline, in. I finally got her in.
It's great that she can share in this with you.
It is. This is a family affair. I mean, as a team, you're together 9 months of the year, and you're with each other a lot. And families deserve to be a part of this, too.
What are you going to do? How are you going to let go?
I can't wait till tomorrow when we get back. I'm telling you, I can't wait to see the city of Chicago.
Max, congratulations, man. It was a joy to watch. All right, Coach Phil Jackson is standing over here. Coach, earlier in the week, I asked you a question, and it was a stupid question at the time, and you cut me off, so let me ask you again. Where does this rate? A championship ring as a head coach? Do you like it more than when you won one as a player?
Well, you can't take things away from players. It's exhilaration of performing in there, actually putting yourself on the court. As a coach, the thrill is seeing them perform. It's a vicarious thrill, but yet it's a great sense of pleasure and satisfaction.
Every time people ask you about your organization, you are always quick to include Tex Winter, Jim Clemens, and Johnny Bach, your assistant.
Well, they've done a great job, and the men have taught me some things, and Jim and I, who were former teammates, have stayed as a team. We've worked real hard together, and the energy's been great between the coaches.
Will you take some credit that your personality helped mold this team? Low-key, cerebral approach is rather than a screaming, crazy guy?
Well, that and the fact that I don't demand a lot of spotlight. I think Michael has it. We all have been in his spotlight a little bit, and he started to share it with the rest of us this year, and that's why we won, because he's willing to step back, stop being Superman, and make passes to Paxson, who knocked him down.
You are a man of restraint. How are you going to celebrate once you clear all of us out of here?
I'm going fishing.
Thank you, Phil. Carol, back to you. We'll round up a few more world champions in a moment.
All right. Thanks very much, Mark. Going fishing. Well, if you think Chicago is ready for this win, you would be exactly correct. Right now, on the Rush Street area, it is rocking with fans celebrating the championship. Tom Scher is there live. Hello, Tom.
Hi, Carol. These people are going absolutely bonkers here. You know, the Bulls had a true team effort to win this World Championship, and part of the team is right out here on Division Street. This is the Bulls' 6th man. You would not believe the way these people just stormed out into the street the minute the Bulls wrapped it up against the Lakers tonight. It has been a peaceful, though, as you can see, wild celebration. The Chicago police did not intend to close Division Street, but these people made it very clear that the authorities had no choice, and the police gladly did it. They've been out here now for at least 15 or 20 minutes, having a terrific time. I saw a lot of people at halftime. We went out into the street, and a lot of people said, I didn't know the people I met before tonight, but now we're best buddies watching this game. I think this has done a lot to bring the fans of the city together, and as you can see it tonight, 25 years of frustration for Bulls fans has come to an end. Many of these people here weren't even born when the Bulls franchise came into existence in 1966, but they know the history, and that history has been wrapped up tonight. So there you have it, Carol. A terrific scene here. A lot of us thought that the Bulls would win this series. We didn't think it would happen this quickly in LA. These are media passes for games 6 and 7 that would have been played at the stadium. They won't be needed and I am having a lot of pleasure just throwing them to these people here. No game 6 or 7 at the stadium.
Tom, let me stop you a second. I know you can't possibly hear me. We're switching back to LA with Mark Giangreco and Michael Jordan. Mark.
Michael Jordan holding up the Larry O'Brien trophy. And he's drinking from the Michael, are you getting on loose now?
I swear, I'm so happy. I'm happy for the city. I'm happy for the team. This is the most enjoyment time I've ever had.
Does this feel as if you thought it would be? Is it more than you thought it would be?
It's more. I never thought I'd be this emotional. But I couldn't hold it back. It's been in me for a while. 7 years it's been inside of me, and I'm just so happy.
You have tears in your eyes now. Do you think you've always had your place in history in this sport and in this nation? Do you think now you've validated your place as the greatest player?
Well, it's hard to say anybody's the greatest player. I'm just happy that for this year until next year, we're the greatest team. We're the greatest team of the NBA right now.
I want to know, how heavy is that?
I don't care. I don't care.
What are you going to do after this?
Relax with my family, play golf, and enjoy this whole summer.
By the way, did you go to Disney World? Did you go to Disney?
I'm not, but the team is. I'm going to do it for them.
Michael, thank you. Carol, Michael Jordan with tears in his eyes. He is just delirious. It's more than he ever expected it would be. Let's go back to the NBC Tower.
All right, Mark, thanks very much. Still ahead.
We really hang on to get a great win here this afternoon.
Scott, we asked you this earlier in the series. You're surprised when Phil Jackson looked to you so early in games in this series?
Yeah, I was just out there. I just wanted to help the team. I just want to contribute any way I possibly could. I'm on cloud 9 last year. Yes, Scott. Last year I wasn't even drafted. Now I'm sitting here. I'm with the #1 team in the world. Yeah, boy. I love this game. Yeah, boy. We're coming back to Chicago. We're going to party. The city's going to be going wild.
PJ, I said to you before the game that you shouldn't be saying anything before, and you certainly are going to let it out now, right?
No, we're not going to let down. We're going to work. We're going to keep it all going. We hung together all year. All right, Jess. And we just did a great job. I mean, a great season, and we're just really going to take advantage, and we just love it. We can't wait to get back on to Chicago. We love you, baby. We love you, Chicago. You guys are the greatest.
Carol, look, Pat Riley. We'll be back in a minute. See you later.
Looks better on him, I think. Well, LA is rocking, at least for Chicago fans there. This city is rocking. We go live to the south side where we're not
Unbelievable! Oh, be careful what you say. Chicago! We love you! You guys are great! We did it for you! We love you all! This is all we can do. We're going to celebrate. We're going to party. Welcome us at the airport. Woo!
Scott, let me ask you a question. When you see this on TV, are you going to be embarrassed after?
No, I love you. I've been waiting for years for this moment. Last year, or a couple years back, we won the ACC tournament, but that was nothing like this.
Okay, well, congratulations. Dennis, you ended up the right place. You're on an NBA championship.
I'm coming from a team that's never made the playoffs to a team that won.
Paradise.
Yeah, we finally lost our...
From the last few minutes, you have a pretty good idea what's going on, so if you want to listen to the audio, you can. Scott?
No, you're back. We can see you.
Oh, they can see us again, Scott. There's the run.
Oh, I'm on again. Hey, I just want to take this opportunity to thank the fans that wrote me out a letter to the season and keep my head up, keep working hard. Without you guys, I probably could have went and just gave up on a year. Coach Jackson, he just gave me a chance. That's all I needed. And I came up, I played pretty good basketball. I'm so happy, I don't know what to say.
And you're just a rookie, too. I mean,
what a rookie. My first year, I got 1 ring. No, I'm no longer a rookie. You must be a real vet. I'm an old vet now. I'm losing rookie. Hey, Johnny, I'm losing my voice. Can you hear it? I'm going out. He's a rookie till next season. No, till next season. Don't believe the hype. I'm telling you right now, I'm a veteran. I don't have to rack balls anymore.
Okay, thanks a lot, and congratulations. That's pretty much the story here. Bill, you want to take it back? I'll try and move to another location, see if I can get you another interview. Okay?
Thank you, Johnny.
A lot of you guys say it's my fault because of the way I play offensively, you know. But maybe it is. Who knows? But now, you know, we can't live on that stigma anymore. We got players surrounding myself, and it can give a contribution and make us an effective basketball team. And, you know, on national television in the finals, we did it as a team. You know, all season long, we did it as a team, and you got to give my teammates all the credit. You know, I played my game. I played my consistent game, but, you know, with the efforts that they gave us, we were a better team.
All right, we're back here with the other half of that bosom buddy combination, Scottie Pippen.
We went out and worked hard because everybody said that a leading scorer in the NBA can't win a title. And that just made us more motivated to go out and work hard and give our best to him and to this team to win.
Scotty, everybody talked about Michael Jordan needed a championship ring to show everyone that he truly was the greatest. What about you? You now have a ring. You are in the upper echelon, and no one can deny that.
Well, yeah, I think all great players deserve to win a championship, deserve the ring, deserve the celebration. And it's just a great feeling to be able to see a guy like Michael who goes out hard and work every game, and it's just something that we can give back to him, and we can look back down the years and say he won a championship, even though he led the league in scoring for I don't know how many years.
Well, forgive me that this is a lame question, but did you ever think back at Central Arkansas that you would ever be here?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Carol, back to you.
All right, Mark. You don't have too many smiles. You got a big smile now.
This is what it's all about. This is it.
You waited.
I did that. I got his ass back for all those years of elbows. This is it.
Bill, you've waited the longest of any of these players.
Oh, man. 12 grueling years.
Is it better than New York?
I think this is a little better than New York right now. It's just unbelievable.
What did you think was the key to the series?
I just thought that we were the healthy team of the series. I thought that we were playing the best of the series. And after the first game, even at that, when Perkins hit the three, I still felt that we were the better team. We were playing the best, and with God's help, we brought it on. All the people of Chicago, they supported us all year. This wins for them.
And you know, Will says he pushed you to greater heights.
Oh, I mean, geez.
Will tripped me to greater heights.
The guy was kind of on the verge of mediocrity, and I just kept bowing him, and finally he got mad enough where he said, "To hell with this. We got to win one, so I got to get this guy off my butt."
Don't forget our live special tomorrow night, 7:45 down at Channel 2. You're going to be there, right? All the guys are coming?
I don't know. After tonight, we may not be able to find it.
I'm going to find you. Will, you're going to be there. You already told me you would.
Hey, I just follow him. He's the leader.
Okay, we'll see you guys tomorrow, because it's going to be great. Have a good time. Congratulations.
Well, hey, thanks. We'll be looking for you. And people of Chicago, hey, you're number one.
Okay, Will, I got to congratulate you. You've come on strong in the season. You're a player who had some adversity. You were getting boos. Now, every time you go out on the court, they cheer you. That isn't done very often in Chicago.
No, it's not. I mean, you know, there's a crowd that, you know, that wants somebody to go out there and work hard. And, you know, when I first started, it was very difficult. But fortunately, I was able to turn the crowd around. And, you know, I got to attribute that a lot to Bill and the coaches. You know, without them, who knows where I'd be. But all I know now is I'll be wearing a ring in a couple days.
Okay, well, congratulations on a fine season. They're going to be talking about repeat now here pretty soon.
I mean, that's the first thing that's come to mind, except for the summer. But, you know, we'll see what happens.
Okay, thanks a lot. Congratulations to Will Perdue and Bill Cartwright. Let's bring June Jackson over here just for a minute.
To you. And I think this has come from Michael and his team. I'm so proud of the whole team and management.
Mrs. Jordan, enjoy yourself.
Thank you.
We're with Cliff Livingston right here. Cliff, you know, when they made the trade for you and they picked you up and people said, okay, now, where is he? And then all of a sudden at the end of the season and through the playoffs, your veteran experience came through and you were a factor off the bench.
Well, you know, I didn't get as much playing time during the season as I liked, but I stuck in there and kept my head and just tried to work through things. I knew eventually I would have a chance to show what I can really do for Chicago. I knew I was good for Chicago, but an opportunity didn't present itself. Then I started praying a lot and asking God to give me a chance to show what I really can do. And he gave me the opportunity to, and I just want to just praise his name because he made it all possible.
Were you tugging on his shirt tail saying, hey, I'm still here?
Well, you know, I thought Phil knew I was still there because when practice time came around, I was always pushing Scotty, making Scotty play hard every day in practice. And we had a little thing, we always play a game. We'd always see who won at the end of practice for bragging rights. So I would always just D him up in practice real good, and I think that helped my defensive out when it came down to playing defense against some of these other guys.
Do you like that label of veteran guy who knows his role?
Yeah, you know, because that's what it's all about. Veterans that know their role, and they're willing to sacrifice the little things for the championships.
You know, you went to that James Brown concert the other night.
Yeah.
You feel like doing a step?
Oh, my God, I feel so good.
Thank you very much, Cliff. Carol, back to you.
We're soaking wet, and Chuck Davidson, my cameraman, is starting to get electrical shock, so this is getting kind of dangerous. So if we lead you leave you, you'll know why.
Here we go!
It's all worth it, though, isn't it, Michael?
Boy, I'm going to be drunk before I even drink anything.
Get the hands in!
Is it anything like you thought it might even feel?
No, I never thought I'd show my emotions like this, but I couldn't hold them in. You know, it was tough for me to hold it in. But I don't think anybody could hold it in.
You feel vindicated now? Everybody was saying you're a selfish player, you take too many shots, you're not a team player, this team could never win with you shooting the ball that way. What do you say to those people now?
Well, I'm not going to say anything bad. You know, I'm happy to be here. For the guys who said that, they don't know basketball. You know, I play the game of basketball the way I play it. And I feel that, you know, my teammates does the same thing. And I'm glad I was a part of this. You know, if they say I'm selfish, you know, I don't care.
No,
we won a championship.
You're not selfish.
And I'm so happy.
Is this better than the Olympic title, better than the NCAA championship?
By far, because it's a 7-year struggle to get here. And I made it, man. And the whole city made it, whole team made it. It was a struggle, but we made it.
When did you first feel you could win it all? When did you first feel you could win the championship?
We took it game by game. We didn't look ahead of ourselves. When we got into the playoffs, started against New York, everybody played. All I needed was everybody to play. And everybody in the city wanted everybody to play. When we passed Detroit,
what did the talk of
we didn't have anything about looking back. They opened the door for us. All we saw was opportunity. And here we are.
Now what's next? You're going to win the Masters now? U.S. Open?
You're going to play golf, that's for sure.
A lot of golf. I'm going to make my own Open.
When is going to be your first game of golf now? You're going to rest, what, 2 days?
To get back tomorrow.
Oh, no. Tomorrow you got a busy day.
No, I'm going to rest.
Happening
I don't know. I'm not even going to think about golf. I'm going to enjoy this with my family and my friends.
There you go.
I'm not even thinking about it.
Coach Phil Jackson did a good job, didn't he?
I give credit to Phil, man. I mean, they overlooked him for Coach of the Year. But to us, he's a Coach of the Year. I mean, he led us here. He was a great leader for us. He kept his poise, steady Phil. He never lost his composure, and he never let us lose it.
Johnny?
He kept our composure.
I'm serious.
Champion Chicago Bulls. This is Jim Rose, Channel 7 Eyewitness News.
Bill, you said before the game you had to weather the storm early and then ride it out. You did that and more.
It was a storm, and they had a couple of players on the floor we weren't as familiar with as when Scott and Worthy on the floor, so we had to make an adjustment. We just hung in. Our offense was shaky at best today, but our defense picked it up where we needed it. Got some big steals. Pax had an unbelievable fourth quarter. We're bringing it home.
You know, he's always been very low-key, obviously, and not want to say much. What do you think he'll say once we all clear out?
He's going to go nuts. He's going to go nuts. We're going to call home and talk to our kids. He'll go nuts. Don't worry.
Well, with the ugliest jump shot in the NBA, you win a world championship.
Hey, it's not how it starts out, it's how it ends up.
Did you think that when you were at the Knicks and you were becoming a veteran player that you might never get to this point?
Well, you just never know when it's going to come back around, and thank God it did. We were able to take advantage of it. Elvis Bill was talking about before the game, situations here for us to take it. We came out, we took it. I can say hello to my boys at home, Justin, Jason, James, and Chrissy. We're coming home, #1.
And let's hope you stay a Chicago Bull. I don't want to put a damper on the festivities here, but you think that you will be a Bull next year?
Hey, write your letters, Jerry Krause, Jerry Reisdorf. Send them in.
Thank you, Bill. Let's move over here if I can step in front of you, Will Perdue and Amy. Will, again, you're the quiet type. The two centers here make more than a whole.
There's no doubt about it. I mean, fortunately for me, this is only my third year. Bill's been weathering through about 12 years of this stuff, and I'm just glad he finally won one, and all the abuse I've taken from him and the 12 stitches that I gave him. It all works out in the wash, doesn't it? This is what we've been shooting for all year.
When the Boo Birds were coming out and people weren't giving you enough time to develop and people were criticizing you, how did you feel then?
I mean, personally, that really bothered me, but I just knew if I kept working hard, I got the support from my teammates and Bill and the coach, and, eventually things would work out, and slowly the things turned around, and, I'm just grateful for that, and I just, I know that the fans right now are going crazy.
Did you know that he still had that confidence in him all the time he was going through a tough outing?
Well, he had the physical capability. We were just waiting for everybody else to go along with it. It took a little bit of time, and it was worth it. Do you think so?
Oh, well, you're right, Coach.
It always seemed like you had the confidence, though, that you weren't shaken by any criticism.
No, not really. I mean, most of the criticism I had was before I even got here, so,
you know, I had to dig myself out of a hole when I first got here, and I just kept working hard, you know, with Al and Eric, and, you know, plus Bill was always there. Even though he's a low-key type, he always had something to say, whether it be good or bad, and it was always to try to make me a better player.
Well, no matter what, no one could ever fill your shoes.
No, they cannot do that, and nobody can take my ring away either.
All right, thank you, Will. Carol, we'll send it back to the NBC Tower.
Well, this has got to be a very satisfying day for you, John.
It's unbelievable. I mean, you can't describe it. You know, you saw the Bears win, and there's no better feeling than seeing your hard work, you know, come to this. And I'm real happy for everybody, the 12 players, the coaches. Michael, I'm especially happy for because, you know, he can't be branded as a guy that couldn't win a championship. I mean, he's won it now, and all that's off his back as well.
You know, a football player dreams of catching the touchdown pass to win the game. A basketball player dreams of scoring 10 points in the last few minutes to win a game. I mean, unbelievable shooting.
Well, I was in a real good rhythm, and I've shot the ball very well in this series. I knew they'd give me opportunities. Magic left me a lot, and I stuck them, and I can't wait to get home. I'm telling you, I can't wait to see the city.
The city is now looking at shots of you, some of the shots you made at the end of the game. You were spotting up well.
Well, you know, Michael and Scotty draw so much attention to themselves, and they create a lot of opportunities for me, and I've been here to shoot the basketball.
You know, they're dancing in the streets in Chicago.
I'm glad. I want to go dance with them. We'll dance tomorrow.
Let's see, what finger are you going to put that ring on?
I don't know. I don't have very big fingers, but I'll get the biggest one.
I'll get the biggest one with the biggest diamond, right? Well, congratulations. You had a great season, and good luck to you in the future. I talked to Jerry Krause. He says, don't worry. We're going to keep John Paxson in Chicago.
You keep that on tape. I'm going to hold him to it.
Okay, John Paxson, the starting guard for the Bulls, who came through when they needed it in the clutch, had a superior season and a superior series, shooting over 60%. And when you shoot that kind of percentage, when you're shooting from outside, you're doing one heck of a job. I think that pretty much wraps it up here from
Johnny,
the locker room. Yes, Bill?
How does the champagne taste?
I've only got little smatterings of it on the edge of my lips. But the way I feel, I guess I'm going to have some after I give it back to you. All the champagne's on my clothes, not in my mouth. Hey, Horace, hey, you switched to RC, diet right. Okay, he switched to RC, diet right. Can you believe that?
Johnny, it might be a moment to pay tribute to your cameraman.
Oh, yes, Chuck Davidson, who almost got electrocuted 2 or 3 times. And I had some electrical shocks myself. It has been a real mob scene, and obviously it should be organized a little bit better. But the locker room here at the Forum is very small. It's not like a football locker room where you have all kinds of rooms. You don't have as many players. They don't have the side room where you can go do the stuff. They have that press conference room, and you saw some of the interviews from there. But this really only happens like this, you know, once in a while. For the Bulls, it's once in 25 years, so I guess we can all put up with it. We had a good time, and it's very satisfying when you've been covering sports for as many years as I have in Chicago. We haven't had a lot of winners. There have been few and far between, but when we get them, we appreciate them, don't we? And I know the city of Chicago has supported their teams throughout the bad years, and this is a good year, and things are really looking up overall for Chicago sports. So I think that pretty much wraps it up from the locker room, as everybody's having a good time, and we'll be...
Anyway, Haji, everybody said, hey, the guy's a one-dimensional player, a three-point specialist, but you played defense and you really contributed.
You know, I just thank Almighty God that he exalted us to this level. I got a couple of my homeboys here with me. All the way from Chicago. Celebrate. And I just thank God that he gave us a victory.
Can you talk about your career and going through and winding up with the Bulls? I mean, there was a time in your career when I'm sure you thought you were mired at a team you didn't want to be with and that you thought you were never going to get here.
Absolutely. You know, it was times when, you know, early in my career that you never think you would get to this level. And the Creator gives you an opportunity. And just to be here with such a great group of guys and a great management staff, it's just a great opportunity. I thank Almighty God for it.
You got that new Frankie Beverly and Mays CD going?
Hey, I'm going to have it after the night, baby boy. All right,
my favorite group as well.
Appreciate it, partner. Take
Craig
care,
Hodges. Carol, back to you. The Bulls World Championship jacket. That's about a $3,000 item right there. And here's the $1 million man, General Manager Jerry Krause. Jerry, you were voted Executive of the Year one time, but you still had a lot of detractors. You've taken a lot of criticism, both personally and professionally. How do you feel now?
I just feel super because this is what it's all about. It's all about winning championships, and I don't worry about what people say or think. And it's just you never stoop to the level of your critics, and we just feel so good. This is for the city of Chicago, and it's for the greatest fans in the world. And it's for our families and the greatest coaching staff in the world. And there's so many people, Mark. If I start thanking people, we'll be here all night.
You're already exhausted.
And
I can't begin. Jerry Reinsdorf's greatest owner, man, could ever work for. You just can't work for a better human being. And we've been together now 9 years, and only I can know how great he is. And he was hugging me, and I was hugging him. And we set out to do this 6 years ago, and it's come true. And it's a great organization. When they write about this thing, it's an organization. That's what it is.
It's an amazing thing to see a game plan that is 6 years in length come to fruition.
The 2 days before I took the job, we sat down, we talked for 2 solid days, and we haven't wavered from that for 6 years. And I don't think we'll waver from it again, because we're going to try and win another one for the greatest fans in the world.
Okay, listen, you would not comment to me on Horace Grant's situation. You would not comment to me on Stacey King walking out of practice. You would not comment on Scottie Pippen's new contract. You would not comment on Bill Cartwright's situation. Tell me everything now. I want to know who's going to get what money. Spill your guts. Tell me everything.
Well, you know that we're not going to comment now, except to say that we're going to put the rings on, and that's what it's all about. It's all about putting the rings on, and we got a great group here, and it's a great group of players. Every one of them worked their tail off, and you can't do something like this without 12 guys working their tail off, and the greatest coaching staff in the world.
Guess what? The bus is leaving. Get out of here.
Leaving. They want me, and I'm going to
Jerry
go.
Krause,
it's going to be a hell of a
congratulations.
bus ride.
We'll see you tomorrow. All right, Carol, everybody is cleared out except us disgusting-looking reporters. So that's it, live from the Forum in L.A. Mark Giangreco with the world champion Chicago Bulls.
You do look...
Bring it back to Chicago! We come out to play champions!
And right now, don't get no better than this.
I'm just glad I was able to step up.
Unbelievable! That's what it's all about.
Chicago! Chicago!
Happiness, joy, excitement, and then it's our team in the world.
Champions!
Got guys to execute.
Right now, it couldn't be any better. I'm so happy. I won ring. Can't even speak right now. I'm so elated.
I want to enjoy this. We did it. It took a long struggle, but we made it. Everybody stepped up. No one ran away from their shot.
They have won. It took 25 years for the Bulls franchise to win its first NBA championship.
The Bulls, the best, the champs.
It's such a great feeling. I want to do it again.
And now, your Channel 2 News team, Bill Turner, Linda McLennan, and Johnny Morris.
I feel like I just played the game. Good evening. The city of Chicago tonight is indeed a city of champions, isn't it?
Yes,
The Bulls,
The cheering will take up the whole show.
I promise not to ask any more questions. The Bulls have brought us a national title. We are bringing you the Bulls.
and we're... Some of the fans, too. They are here, 250 of them.
We have been with the Bulls every step of the way, and tonight it's time to enjoy the biggest moment in Chicago sports, you know, in years.
Since 1963, right, Johnny? We've got an hour of live Bulls action just ahead. We have plenty of surprises. Channel 2's very own Michael Jordan gets behind the camera to put his dream season to pictures. He may become a newscaster, a weatherman, a sportscaster. It's home video, and it's Michael like you have never seen him before. And then, imagine being a rookie and winning it all. That's what's happening to Scott Williams, and we will go along for the wild ride.
And that's not all. We are going to Disneyland.
Here at Walt Disney World.
Do we get the fee, too?
We get the fee as well. We have a real Cinderella story to tell with special guest appearances from coast to coast back here to Chicago. So, let's get going. Johnny.
Yes, what better way to start things off than with the man who usually gets things going at the stadium. He's in our audio booth tonight. He's the voice of the Bulls, announcer Ray Clay, and he's got one more member of the Channel 2 team to introduce. So take it away, Ray.
From North Carolina, Channel 2's very own, the MVP of both the season and playoffs, 6'6", Michael Jordan.
Was almost as loud as the stadium.
Yeah, it was quite as loud. I mean, it's so exciting. I don't even know what to do. I'm so excited about everything. I think, as you can see, everybody in Chicago is excited, and I'm just thrilled. I got chills all over myself. It's amazing. It's amazing.
You waited 7 long years.
It's been 7 years. I mean, it's been a struggle, but sometimes when you go through a struggle, when you get to that end, or when you get to that horizon, I mean, it's just so much joy that you just can't control some things. And as you saw yesterday, I couldn't control it.
You know exactly what you're talking about. You may not realize it, but we watched you almost every moment, every second out there, breaking down a little bit, a tear here and there.
Well, I tried to hold it back. I mean, all my buddies are going to pick at me, but I can understand that. I mean, it was very touching. I mean, it's touching for the city, it's touching for the organization, and certainly for myself.
What is the sweetest part of this victory?
Is that for many years, I mean, the 7 years that I've been here, and I've heard about what Chicago had to say about their sports team whenever they lost. Wait until next year. Well, now you don't have to say that anymore.
We're going to be having a lot of questions for Michael a little bit later, but first let's take a moment. We had a chance to talk with Michael, and he had a chance to reflect on what has happened throughout this season, how it came to a culmination with a NBA championship, the first ever. So let's hear what he had to say.
We started off 0-3, and maybe it was because we were a little full of ourselves or whatever, or we put ourselves into the conference finals before we even played in the games. But I think to go 0-3 from the beginning kind of woke us up. We started to play a little bit better. We started gaining confidence. We started the ball rolling, and as the ball started rolling, we started picking up momentum from different games.
Got his own rebound, back to the hoop, pumps it in, draws the foul.
Going into the All-Star break, after we beat Detroit in Detroit, it was like a ball. We got the ball rolling. Everybody's confidence was lifted.
Rebound, follow up, Vinnie Johnson, it won't go. Rebound tipped away, the Bulls win! They finally do it. They get the monkey off their back.
We came out from the All-Star break blistering, and it gave us momentum going into the playoffs. From that New York series, we showed to everybody that we're not going to sit back and let one man be stopped and stop this team. Our bench started to play a lot better towards the end of the season than when we got in the playoffs. Will Perdue, he really gave us an effort. He made a big difference in the New York series. Barkley was an easier situation because we knew what to expect. We knew how to attack it. We actually wanted to play Detroit because if we went any other route, it would have taken away from what we achieved.
Only thing that actually could stop us was ourselves. The first game, very nervous. Bounced back for game 2, got back on the roll. It's like we've been knocking on the door for 4 years, and now we open the door. There's nothing but sunshine out there and whatever you want to get. And we walk through the door, and now we're trying to find and grab some of the prosperity that's in front of us.
Yeah!
It has truly been a wild ride for the Bulls since the buzzer sounded last night. And if you missed the locker room celebration, here's a chance to relive a moment in sports history, a moment of celebration.
And that's what Michael Jordan is feeling right now as he hoists the basketball trophy to the top, the NBA championship trophy.
87, 80. This is it.
Bill, you've waited the longest of any of these players.
Oh, man. 12 grueling years.
We are going to bring some of our fans and our audience into all this celebration and hear from them. Tell us your name, where you're from.
Stuart Myron from Barrington.
And your question for Michael?
First of all, Mike, you're beautiful. You brought it home. I do have a question. It was about this time a year ago. I remember hearing Chuck Daly of the Pistons saying that winning their second consecutive world championship was considerably more difficult than winning the first one. And I was curious, if you had to guess, do you think that a year from now you'll concur with that opinion, or do you think maybe winning the first one was the toughest?
Well, you would only hope so. In my position, I think the first one was a little bit more difficult because 7 years is a long time of a struggle to get from one point, when I first joined this team, to the highest point that you can actually get to. And it's amazing that we finally made it. And next year, with hopefully the same team or some of the players from this team, we would know what it takes.
Michael? Let's go across court to Johnny.
Thank you, Linda. Michael, I have a question that I've never asked you before. Artistic. You're in the air so long sometimes. You have such beautiful moves. Do you ever, when you're in the air, do you ever think about what you're doing? Or is it just come? Did you ever think about...
Johnny, I never really think about it. That's a part of creativity that sometimes you don't even have to think about it. You let your instincts and you let your abilities take over, and sometimes it creates the most beautiful things you can ever see. So I never practice. I just go out and play and let the situation dictate themselves.
Okay, we have a young man here who has a question for you, Michael.
Michael, Sports Illustrated ran an article about the Olympics coming up. I was wondering if you've made a definite decision on whether you will or will not play in those Olympics.
Well, it's so hard to think about it right now with all what's going on. But with myself, I played in the Olympics in 1984, and I feel that other athletes should get the opportunity to participate and represent the country. I would love to do it, but I think it would take so much away from what I have to do for the Chicago Bulls and for our season. It's a long season, and to dedicate myself for another month in the summertime, which is already short, would actually take away from what I want to do for the next season. So right now, I don't think I'm going to participate, and I think it's enough athletes involved to bring the goal back to the United States. But I'm going to cheer for them, but I don't think I'm going to play.
Okay, let's switch over to Bill Curtis's section.
Thank you, Johnny. I have Mary Kay with me. Where are you from?
Chicago.
And you have a question for Michael. Mary Kay?
Yes, in the first quarter of Game 5, last night's game, the coach called some quick 1 or 2 timeouts. What defensive moves or changes did the coach institute?
Well, it wasn't defensively. It was more or less offensively. I think yesterday we were a little rattled. We were wanting to win so badly that sometimes we get out of sync, we get out of our offensive continuity. He was more or less trying to get us more calmed down to go out and play better offense. Our defense was great. Our defense has been very consistent all through the playoffs. He tried to calm us offensively and get into our offense a little bit better.
Well, it worked.
It worked. You know, you probably wanted to ask too.
I think it worked.
The secret to the defense.
It's just we got to read each other. You know, playing together for a period of time and knowing the defensive fundamentals and helping out each other. It's a matter of helping out your friend. You know, when your friend gambles, you got to cover his back. And I think this comes from maturity as well as being together for a period of time. And it certainly was very evident in the playoffs for us.
It was formidable. We have our Channel 2 team out and about and ready to cover this story just like you have the Bulls team behind you. Let's go to Lester and find out where he is and what he's got. Lester.
Bill, I'm at the Petrillo Bandshell. You know, we've had jazz festivals here, blues festivals, the inauguration of mayors, but tomorrow's something I can guarantee has never happened here before. We're going to salute a championship basketball team, a Chicago team. These VIP seats at noon tomorrow will be filled as far as you can see. The grass out there filled all the way to Monroe and Lakeshore Drive. They're expecting a record crowd here. Of course, they've been talking about this celebration now for over a week before the championship was even in hand. Some people would call that counting your chickens before they hatch. But you know what? Part of being a Bulls fan is knowing you got to have faith.
The Bulls are on fire! Number one! I knew the Bulls was going to win this. Baby!
Bulls Fever was a civic production. The show off the court, the little guy, so to speak, made all of this more than a game.
I'm sitting over here, and I'm ready to play. I'm sweating.
More than a game, almost a religion. Wait a minute. It was a religion.
That the Bulls may win this game, let us pray to the Lord.
In any tongue, the message was the same. Translation? Bulls Fever made Chicago see red, see Bulls that could fly, see another kind of monster of the Midway. Could it be it was something in the water? Or maybe it came to them in a dream.
They have a vision to get something done this time.
But any Bulls regular knows vision is not the problem. It's hearing.
This is the loudest stadium I've ever seen in my life. The best.
Years from now, they'll talk about the loudest streets they ever saw. Who says prayers never get answered? Amen. And amen it is. Here we're on the stage at the Petrillo Bandshell where the team will greet Chicago in mass. You think you have a big crowd there? Wait till you guys come out here tomorrow. It's going to be some party. They'll have music beginning at 11 o'clock. Things kick off at noon. Come early. Bring the sunblock. Sit back and enjoy. It's going to be a party. We're at the Petrillo Bandshell. Bill?
And if you can't be there, why, watch it on Channel 2. We'll be there. Believe it or not, for us, the best is still to come. We're finished talking. When we come back right now, more from you, the fans, and the man in the middle, a surprise guest, next. That's proof that Phil Jackson is truly the man behind it all, calling the shots that really count. He's about ready to join us. Ray?
And now, the coach of your NBA champion Chicago Bulls, Channel 2's very own Phil Jackson.
Phil, we have a lot of questions we want to ask you, but before we get going, we'd like to hear this message from our nation's capital.
Congratulations to the NBA champions of the world, the Chicago Bulls. On behalf of myself, the entire Quayle family, President George Bush and Barbara, let me just say, job well done. A special congratulations to you, Michael Jordan, on just a tremendous effort and obtaining the Most Valuable Player award. Since I come from the basketball capital of the world, state of Indiana, I respect and know good basketball when I see it. You're simply the very best. So from those of us in Indiana, we'll see you at Market Square Arena right away next year. Thank you very much. Congratulations to you.
This is a Democratic town, isn't it? Now here's the chance to pop the big question to Phil Jackson and the team. Let's begin with Adele Arakawa, Channel 2.
Thanks a lot, Bill. Got a question back here in the studio audience. Tell us your name first and where you're from.
George Bogdanich. I have a question for Phil. First of all, congratulations on bringing the best out of this team. We'd like to know what's it going to take to sign John Paxson and Bill Cartwright, and are you going to be expressing your opinion to the two Jerrys?
Well, I think it's obviously been expressed by just the manner in which we played basketball this season. There's no doubt about the fact that without John Paxson and Bill Cartwright on the floor, we're going to have a hard time winning. And this team, expressed their desire to have them on the floor by using them so well. John, particularly in the game last night, you showed his importance on the team. But before I start, this team's going to face a lot of problems financially. Now that we are winners, it's going to be a financial burden. Scottie Pippen's going to have a great contract coming up, but he deserves it.
You know, we have the owners sitting right back there. Maybe we can just negotiate it right here.
Right here on the floor.
Let's just get rid of it as an issue. We are looking at the benches, and they look kind of empty to me. Ray, let's bring somebody else in.
What part of Bill Jackson's coaching brain trust? Assistant coach Jim Clemens.
Jim Clemens, let's go back to the stands. Linda McClellan, do you have a question there?
I do. Tell us your name, where you're from.
This is Tony Daniels, and I'm from Downers Grove. Coach Jackson, how hard is it, since you have so many great players, how hard is it to pick your starting five?
Well, that's not very hard. They've kind of found a way to start. I'll tell you quickly, when we started playing this kind of basketball 2 years ago, we said we're going to play pressure basketball. And John Paxson was the one guard that got up the court and started playing pressure basketball from one end to the other, and that was easy. And from there on out, it all filtered in place. Bill Cartwright at center, Michael, the other guard, Scottie Pippen and Horace at forward. That was pretty easy. There were times when it looked like B.J. Armstrong could press Paxton's position as a starting guard, but he played great off the bench this year. We needed him. From there on out, we kind of all found our spots on this team. It took a while. It was good for us.
Thank you. Good question.
This should make Michael Jordan feel very much at home because we have a guest right now from Chapel Hill, North Carolina. Right, Jefferson?
That's right. I'd like to ask Michael how winning the NBA championship in '91 compares to back at Carolina in '82 when you're on the national NCAA champions.
Well, it's a little different because in '82, when I came into college, that was my first year of college, and I kind of walked into a situation that was already established, and I was able to be a part of a winning team. I guess the difference now is that I had to work up from scratch. I saw the different levels of winning a world championship, and I think that's something that can't be replaced. I think that's something that I'm certainly going to carry along with me for a long period of time, those levels of getting to become a champion. And it's unbelievable, and I appreciate it.
Okay, over in our section of the stands, I'm supposed to let him ask the question first, but I'm going to ask one of Phil. Phil, you had champagne, as you know, all over you last night. We all did. Did you drink any of that champagne?
That wasn't for drinking. That champagne was for pouring and splashing. But I had some later, Johnny, I'll tell you that. Later on in the hotel, when we got back to the hotel, I had some with my family.
Okay. You had a question for Phil Jackson, wasn't it?
Yeah, Coach, how important was it to the team to go through Detroit to get the ring?
Well, Michael talked about necessary steps, and I think that was a necessary step because it built us, made us mature, it gave us the kind of poise and character that we had to have to sustain. And one of the things that's very interesting about this basketball team is that once they beat Detroit in February, around the 4th or whenever that game was right before the All-Star game, maybe it was the 7th of February, from that point on during this season, we were almost invincible. This is a ball club that was out, had a mission. They knew they were ready, they had matured, and now it was time to put it on the floor, and the finished product was going to polish itself, and that's what happened.
We're proud of you.
Thank you.
Linda?
This has been a real Cinderella season, and now it's time for Disney World, and you'll see what we mean in just a moment. And then you'll meet Scott Williams, the rookie who hooked up with the right team at the right time.
Michael Jordan and the Bulls, you just won your first NBA championship. What are you going to do next?
We're going to Disney World.
Well, Michael, everybody here at Walt Disney World can't wait for your arrival. And even though it is the Magic Kingdom, we're still very excited to see all of you, right? Oh, and White Rabbit says, it's about time. Don't be late.
No, a lot off the wall question for Michael. When you were growing up, did you ever think you were going to have to share the spotlight with Mickey Mouse?
I didn't know, but I didn't mind because I admired Mickey at the time, but when I was a kid, so I didn't mind at some point in time sharing the spotlight with him.
All right. I think we're going to talk a little bit more about Cinderella stories. Bill?
I love talking about Cinderella and Mickey. But we want to hear about Disneyland, and we're going to turn to one of our members of the Channel 2 News team, Jay Levine, in the audience. Jay?
We're talking about a Cinderella story here, Bill, and this is a story that you really do want to hear. I spent a lot of time out in Los Angeles over the last week or so, and spending there, it just makes you appreciate these Bulls fans that are here in the background. As Michael and Phil and everybody else knows, the Laker fans definitely do sit on their hands, but that is not the case here. But one guy I've spent more than a little bit of time with this week is Scott Williams, and here is a story where last is definitely not least. The last man to make the squad last fall, overlooked by every NBA team in the draft. It was certainly one of the low points of Scott Williams' basketball career. But wow, what a difference a year makes.
You know, the other day we're coming back and we just swept Detroit, and I'm sitting there with a glass of champagne in my hand, everybody's celebrating. And, you know, I just thought about that, just flashed back, and I was like, you know, last year this time, I was almost literally crying in my beer. Now I'm sitting here and I'm sipping up champagne. What a feeling.
Scott Williams earned his seat on the Bulls' champagne flight home after sweeping the hated Pistons. For most of the season, he'd been the last man off the bench. Now he was among the first, a fan's favorite, though in the eyes of the veterans, he was still, as the Nike commercial goes, just a rookie.
Gary, tell us what a rookie does. A rookie waits on the veterans hand and foot. He shines their shoes. He buys them lunch. He carries their bags. He washes their cars.
Is that the way it is? It is to a certain extent, you know. We go somewhere with a group of guys and it's like, you know, rookie picking up the tab, and I'm like, you know, I'm making a minimum, guys. You guys are making $4 or $5 million.
It was a little easier for Williams when fellow North Carolina grad Michael Jordan took him under his wing. But it was actually another Tar Heel, Laker James Worthy, who had a greater impact on him, leading to his wearing number 42 at Carolina and with the Bulls.
When I went to North Carolina, I said, well, William Worthy wore 42, so I'll go to Carolina, I'll wear 42 also. You kind of, you know, don't want guys to know that, you know, you really idolize them to that level. It kind of gives them an advantage over you, but it's come out now. The secret's up.
From awestruck Laker fan to batting away key Laker baskets in the final moments of the final game, Scott Williams has not only earned his ring, but also respect.
I'm telling you right now, I'm a veteran. I don't have to rack balls anymore.
Maybe it's because they're both Tar Heels, but Scott Williams sometimes even sounds a lot like Michael Jordan, talking more about his love for the game than multi-million-dollar contracts. Still, it's pretty clear that Scott's days of playing for the NBA minimum are just about over, Bill.
Jay, I think everybody's ready. Ray will bring him out here.
In his rookie season, a 6'10" center from North Carolina, Scott Williams.
Somehow you take a look at Scott Williams and you know he doesn't hate all this. Scott, we were talking in Los Angeles about exactly what it felt like playing and being on center court after sitting up in those cheap seats at the Forum all those years. Tell us about that.
It was something special. You know, I always dreamt of playing, you know, with the Lakers and winning the World Championship. But if I had to beat them to get a ring, that was fine too.
Tell us about the time that James Worthy should have been listening to Pat Riley and instead was fooling around with you.
Well, I used to go down to the stadium there and with my buddy of mine, Sean Young, and we would always get there a little late because I was getting out of basketball practice and fighting traffic all the way down there. And one day we were walking to our seats and went up behind a bench, and Worthy was sitting on a bench listening to Riley diagram the next play. Well, he saw me coming and just turned around and stood up and shook my hand and started carrying on a little conversation with me. About the time, about 3 or 4 ushers came over and about threw me out of the place. I got a little nervous after that, so I didn't go behind the bench anymore.
No throwing him out now, Linda.
Thanks, Jay. For Scott and most of these Bulls, the dream began years and years ago on a dusty playground court. Next, we're going to visit some of those legendary courts where kids are dreaming championship dreams already.
Michael Jordan, you are too much. Holy cow.
Congratulations, Bulls. You guys are awesome. Well, being from LA, I have to be a Lakers fan, but the Bulls did a great job. I got to tip my hat.
We congratulate you. Great job, guys.
Holy cow.
Of course, the Cubbies aren't the only ones toasting our Bulls. Let's listen in now to a special message from another special Chicagoan.
I want to say to all of you guys that I never had any doubt that the Bulls were going to be the champions and that your performance was just as awesome as we all expected on the court. But what impressed me so much and the whole world, I think, was the way you guys handled yourselves after the game. From the prayer to your enthusiasm, the sense of grace and dignity, you showed the entire world what it's like to be first class.
Maybe you thought that stuff wasn't getting through, but first class is the way to go. It's the stuff that dreams are made of. The Bulls have captured the soul of our city, especially for thousands of kids out there on the playground. They play the game for fantasy, for dreams, for fun. We caught up with some of them in Evanston.
School's almost over, and the basketball courts are crowded. And on this court, like most others, the talk is about what else? And, of course, the kid's undisputed favorite.
He's the best. He's the greatest.
He always gives it 110%.
He plays basketball good.
The stuff he does on the court, it's like poetry in motion.
I only know one thing about him.
What?
Is only he can score 44 points in only 5 games.
Well, that's one thing. What's the other one?
I've got no idea. I have no idea.
These kids are pretty serious about their basketball and their Bulls. And when it comes to their hero, they appreciate more than Michael's great show on the court. They're watching his every move off the court, too, listening closely to what he has to say, not just about his shoes or his favorite soda.
He tells kids to stay off of drugs, and I think that it helps kids.
I heard when he was little, he was rejected as a player, but he just said, well, I'm going to be the best there is, and he accomplished it.
He's always talking about staying in school, get education, and, you know, it's just a good role model.
And that's really the most important place. The streets are the most important place, aren't they? Let's get some more questions from the stands.
All right, let's go to our studio audience. Stand up. Let us see you here. And tell me your name, where you're from, and your question.
My name is Charlotte Hunt, and I'm from the South Side. Michael, since we couldn't be in the locker room, how did it feel to hold the trophy?
Well, it was very dear to me. I mean, it was like something that you always wanted it, as a kid. And finally, like for your birthday or something, you got it. And you never want to let go of it. You want to sleep with it. You just want to hold it. I mean...
Michael, that brings up a follow-up question now. Did the trophy actually go in bed between you and Juanita? Yes or no?
No, I mean, I said it would, but, you know, I'm smart.
Out, right?
I'm smarter than that, I know.
All right. Bill?
Well, I think Juanita is over there. Might give another story, right?
Huh?
That's right. You don't just kind of get in there and ask questions, do you? We need to warm things up. So we're going to take a break and come right back and let the other side catch up.
The city's proud. This is the greatest sports town in America. This is the greatest town in America, period. So I think you're winning a championship is going to give added incentive to all the other teams in Chicago to go out and do their best. So congratulations to the Chicago Bulls from the Chicago Bears.
Everybody is celebrating this Bulls championship, but there is a lot of history behind all this. Channel 2's Walter Jacobson is outside the stadium, and he is going to take us back to the early days. Walter?
Linda, all right, you know, it's much more quiet here, a good deal more quiet than it's been over the past few months, but it feels good somehow just to kind of be hanging around tonight. There are no more games to see, and you can't go in there and get a beer and a Polish, but there's nothing to worry about anymore either, because it's all over. They've done it. The Bulls have come a long way, baby, a long, long way. The frenzy is the way it is now in the 1990s. The hottest, by far the hottest ticket in town is for the Chicago Bulls. $40 for a box seat. Against the Lakers, there were seats for $2,000. When the Bulls got started, you could sit in the best seat in the house for a sawbuck. Even when the legendary Norm Van Leer was playing, there were games when the Bulls couldn't give a seat away. Some nights we'd buy seats in the mezzanine up there for $5 and then come down here into the boxes and take whichever seats we wanted because they were all available. And management never stopped us because a few more people always looked like a crowd. There was a game against Seattle in the great Bob Boozer days, attended by only 851 people. The Bulls, for some reason, just didn't click. Or the sport was maybe not rough enough or big enough or something. And so they hired a guy named Ben Bentley to just drop tickets off wherever he could.
I went to high schools. I went to big manufacturing plants asking if they wanted to accept tickets to come and see the Bulls play. When I offered 150 tickets, he said, well, let me see what happens. And he said, give me 20.
There were good players on the early teams 20 years ago, like Jerry Sloan, for example, who had a better rebound record than Michael Jordan. So did Tom Borwinkle, big number 18, doubled Michael's rebound average. And Chet Walker, number 25, was better at free throws than Michael. When the Bulls began in 1967, they were always picking themselves up off the floor. Jerry Sloan really was terrific, and they just kept getting up and fighting harder until they finally got where they got last night. Michael says they did it because of that Windy City big-shouldered determination, 25 years of it. And if you've been watching the Bulls that long, you know Michael's right. It has been. It really has been big shoulder determination. You know, it's also been fan determination. Michael's right about that, too, when he says that we're sharing number one. It's true. We are sharing it, and that's one of the really best things about it. We've been through all of it together. Linda?
Well, that's right, Walter. We do go through the agony together, and maybe that's why we appreciate it a little more.
I think so.
For the hardcore sports fans, Jim Clemens, let me ask you a question. You scouted the Lakers and the Pistons, and everybody else can kind of tell us what he did too. What weaknesses did you see there that you were able to pass along?
Well, I think in the Detroit series, our team from past seasons had a good feeling for them. So it's just a matter of how we would handle certain sets, primarily their screen and roll and their isolations with Isaiah. I think that John Paxson and the rest of our defense did an outstanding job in understanding what we had to do. In the Lakers series, their post-ups gave us trouble initially, but then after the first game, we knew that with a certain amount of rotation and understanding how to play the passing lanes and putting outstanding pressure on the basketball, that we thought that we could eat away at them and force them into turnovers or careless shots.
Phil, how important is that to you as a coach, to have that kind of information?
Well, it's the interplay that we have that goes on between the coaching staff, which Jim and I are part of, that's so important. And I think that the team feeds off it because they know we take a loss under our belt and we don't sleep any better than they do. We go back and we try to figure out different alternative plays and ways to come back and beat an opponent. And they accepted what we had. And it was a great learning experience. They took our teaching and they applied it on the court, and the execution was great.
A little behind the scenes. Adele, a question?
Let's take a quick question from the audience, Bill. Here, stand up, tell us your name very quickly.
My name's John Hosty, and I'm from Chicago.
All right, John, your question?
I'd like to know if it was really true what Phil's wife said, that he was only nervous for one game. That was yesterday.
Is that true, Phil?
When did she say that? I gotta ask her. Okay. I'm nervous for every game, but it doesn't show. But I was nervous at that game. I couldn't get it started quick enough. That's usually the problem, getting out there and getting it going.
All right. Bill?
Karen Baker, why don't you stand up? I'm going to reach way across and you ask a question.
Congratulations to the Bulls for bringing the championship home to Chicago. My question is to Phil Jackson. I'd like to see the Bulls build a dynasty in the form of the Lakers, the Celtics. What do you think it would take for them to do that?
Well, I was part of the 69-70 New York Knickerbocker team that was supposed to be a dynasty. And at that time, we made it to 3 finals. And that year, we won it. 2 years later, we lost the team Jim Clemens was on as a rookie, the LA Lakers. And the year after that, we won it again. We had 7 good years, and we got to the finals 3 times and won it twice. We were ecstatic that we could do it twice. But it's so difficult to have all the right things happen and fall in line. We played 99 games this year, 99 games. You realize we had the least injuries of any team in the league. And that's the most important thing. Get guys out there and play. It was great that they wanted to play, first of all. But it's also lucky that no one got hurt. And if we have that kind of success and luck again next year, we're going to try and get that second one back again.
You have one thing going for you. Phil, you have one thing going for you, and that's a good word. Repeatable. Linda? Hey, this crowd, they're the guys down in the middle.
If you thought that you have seen it all, just wait. We are going to be back with more of this very special treat for this championship team.
No party should go without a clown. And we have a world-class clown in Chicago. He set the standard. He's Chicago's very own Goodwill ambassador. Let's bring out the one and only Bozo the Clown.
Well, hey there! Good to see you. Hello. Hi. How are you? Good to see you.
Thank you.
Well, shades of Mrs. O'Leary. Look at that thing smoke, I tell you. Michael, I'm supposed to present this to you. It represents the key to the hearts of everyone here in Chicago. Yes? Actually, I found it in back. They use this to wind up Walter Jacobson. Whoa. I tell you. Well, I want you to know it was terrific. Was this some season or what? It was great. I got to tell you, Coach.
Thanks, Bozo.
This was something.
Yeah, it was.
Hi, Bill.
Thanks for coming.
Good to see you. All right, well, I got to go.
Tie your head red.
Bozo the Clown through the Lovables. We thank the Lovables. We thank 250 of the greatest fans Chicago has. And I know that everybody... I know everybody's going to go down to Grant Park at noon tomorrow. We'll be covering it. I know everybody here is looking forward to getting away, vacation and relaxation. But I do want to tell you that tomorrow the entire city of Chicago is going to be doing that, paying tribute to the entire team. We'll be there on the air at 12 noon for the giant rally. And finally, let us say that we have heard that we don't have any heroes anymore. In fact, we do, and they brought home the championship. Thank you all. Good night. horses came from down the footlights right in front of the stage, and they needed that emergency force. We have a sky full of
We do.
planes, both 3 choppers I count. You have 4 planes carrying signs over this incredible crowd. A little music warming them up, perhaps letting them know that indeed the cars are getting close. Team members riding behind. I think, Linda and Johnny, I think I'm going to go out on a limb and say this is far more impressive than the other welcome home ceremonies for recent champions we have seen from across the country.
Well, it has to rank up there right towards the top, and we'll know the complete answer in a few minutes.
They're right on time. I thought they were going to be another hour or so.
Maybe the motorcade was a ruse. Maybe they stuck it in the back door.
I don't know.
As we told you earlier, and as you saw from the Chopper 7 shot, they were simply mobbed as they made their way north on Columbus Drive.
This is wild.
Getting the Bulls to the stage as they do when they're home at the stadium.
There's Benny the Bull in his outfit. Benny, you got the air conditioning in here today, partner?
This song may become as much a part of Chicago as Na 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 Hey Hey Kiss Her Goodbye.
I like it better.
Kiss him goodbye.
You know, I had a chance to perform on this stage, and it really is a great experience to get the crowd feedback. That was the
crowd for the Sundowners this big, Joe?
It was almost. It was right after the Vietnam Veterans Parade. We performed for the vets, and it seemed as big. At least it was a little more liquid, I will say that.
Joel Daly and the Sundowners, always in the right place at the right time.
Well, it has to be a very exhilarating.
We're going to go a little farther as the day goes on. Right now, that old safety move. Let's toss to a commercial. We'll be right back with more live coverage.
Let's talk to this gentleman over here for a minute. Sure, quiet for a minute. You can't see anything, can you? I can't see anything.
Do get more passionate about their teams than any city I've ever seen.
You know, we went to Los Angeles and we went through the crowd and everything. Everybody was just kind of blasé about their basketball team. And, I mean, even the days before the game, there was no hoopla. Maybe it's because of the fact they had been through 7 or 8 of those championships, and Magic has won 5 rings himself. But and I've been in a number of cities across this country.
I think it's the being deprived. Being deprived for so many years.
Is you know that guys like Scottie Pippen, who's pretty quiet, won't change. I remember when I interviewed him when he first came to town, and he said, you know, the most exciting thing for me is when the game starts, he said, I heard that these guys get their own spotlight.
Yeah.
And that was what he was excited about. And then the other day he was saying that some of the Chicago fans, just to make you want to cry sometimes when they hear their names being introduced over and over again, no matter how many games they play, they still get that feeling. You know they love this.
I've heard that introduction literally thousands of times, and every time lights drop down, you get those goosebumps, I should say, and when it happened in game 2, rather, because after game 1 there was sort of a little bit of a down because they had lost, but after game 2 of the championship series, and you got the goosebumps and they won it, you knew that they were going to win. I didn't think they'd win, Timmy. I didn't think they'd win 3 games in Los Angeles. I said so on the air, so I was pleasantly surprised.
The Bulls were surprised as well, even the best games I'd ever seen.
There's Dennis Hobson of the Bulls as we see the first goal that has appeared. Stacey King right behind him as they're making their way. There's Stacey King.
They look like they've been through a bit, don't they?
They sure do.
Well,
He's
now
happy.
they can relax. Yes.
That's right, Stacey. You're number 1. Oh. There's Will Perdue. Is that Horace? Look like Horace. I can't tell from the got that cap over the front of it. Was that still Dennis Hobson?
Well, they've had an adventure just getting to the stage. Now they are backstage. They will gather.
Here comes Scottie Pippen. What a year he had. A man who really wiped out a memory of last year against Detroit in the 7th game when he got that headache.
I think I see the mayor back there by the door.
Phil
he
Jackson.
had a super season.
And there's the trophy.
Michael did let go of the trophy, didn't he?
Probably slept with it last night, though, I'm sure.
Someone in the audience last night asked him whether it was true that he had the trophy tucked in beside Juanita and him the night before.
It hasn't been formally announced about Scottie Pippen yet, but they have just pretty much agreed to a new contract, a long-term contract, and it should be announced within the next few days.
And they need to do one for John Paxson?
Well, his has to be negotiated. They've been working on Scottie Pippen's. John Paxson becomes into the free agent market and will be able to take offers from other teams. So that'll be a little more difficult, but I know his heart wants to stay in Chicago, and I think the Bulls have the money now with the Kukoc situation resolved.
John Paxson's attitude through this last year vis-a-vis his contract and a relatively low salary for a player of his caliber has been exemplary, wouldn't you say?
It certainly has. He's handled himself very well. Scottie Pippen, as you know, finally had it a little bit into the season and said, hey, I want to get a contract. Well, it kind of worked for him because he played hard, he played well, he was hungry, he wanted this team to win, and they've been negotiating a contract, and when you hear the figures, you're going to understand why he's been playing real hard, and he will play hard.
Johnny, I hope the members of the World Soccer Federation are watching this gathering, because this is the kind of gathering that they would like to have for the World Cup. And of course, Chicago is wanting to get the opening ceremonies in 1994. That
was B.J. Armstrong with his back to us, walking back the other way as they're getting organized, and it won't be too long.
From the players, maintain security. The Bulls motorcade had a similar problem with just trying to keep the fans in some orderly distribution around the park.
And actually, we kind of catch a break down here today for this celebration.
That looks like Horace Grant to me, getting ready.
Benny the Bull making an appearance. Kathy Osterman, the special events commissioner for the city of Chicago, has put this all together, and they had to do it pretty fast. I don't know that she even dreamed of this size of a crowd, but whoever it was in that controversy on whether to come down Madison or hold it here really made the right decision. Even Daly Center would have been much too small.
What movie is this song from?
This is from Top Gun.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Take my breath away.
Well, you know
I feel
all
like
those
a DJ
things.
today.
There's Bill Cartwright down in the lower
Now
right
that man
screen.
has waited a long time for this, hasn't he?
And I promise he's going to smile today. He smiled in the locker room. He doesn't smile too much during the regular season because he's all business. But he's not a high-scoring center. You know, he averaged 10, 12 points a game, but he was very vital on defense and became one of the vital cogs of this team. It was really, with a superstar like Michael Jordan, it wound up being a whole team effort through the playoffs.
Phil Jackson paid tribute to that and paid tribute the other night. It was really interesting the way he put it about Michael
Is tell me that Stacey King at this moment is being peddled along with maybe a draft choice for either money or to move up in the draft. Dennis Hobson, now his situation is kind of iffy because remember, he had come to the Bulls highly regarded, but he had a problem with his knee. So they've been working on the knee all year long, and that's the reason why he didn't get enough playing time. I still believe Jerry Krause may think that he has something in Dennis Hobson. You know how Jerry sits with these guys like he did with Brad Sellers, like he did with Dave Corzine, like he did with a number of other guys before he finally realized that it might be time to cut the cord off.
Here we got a lone musician out there in the crowd.
There's MJ over there in the back.
Michael.
The man himself, Air Jordan.
He's probably trying to find Jerry to get that trophy back.
You know, every Bull to a man said, this is for Chicago. We want it for Chicago, and there's a love thing going on here.
Hey, somebody kill a saxophone, would you? I don't mean the player, I just mean the audio.
You know, speaking of Michael Jordan, when they wanted to shoot that Disney commercial, that Disney World, I'm going to Disney World commercial, the producers for like 5 to 6 minutes insisted that he do it alone, and he insisted, he said, nope, it's a team effort, and I'm going to do it with my teammates, or we're not going to do it at all.
And some of you may be wondering what's going on. You're usually watching your favorite soap operas at this time.
Governor Edgar and the Bulls themselves. While we're waiting for that, why don't you stay tuned? We'll be right. All my children at 1 a.m.
There'll be people there.
There's all my Michael. There was all my Michael.
There's all my Michael on canvas.
With a bull on top of the frame there.
I'll tell you what, if he ran for mayor, governor, maybe even president. Well, I don't know about president. Well, maybe, yeah. I mean, you know, all of America, it seemed, wanted Michael to get his first championship, including the Lakers. I think everybody wanted it except, of course, the Detroit Pistons.
Well, Michael Thompson of the Lakers says now that he's
he's going to retire as a player, he wants to do something where you don't have to think at all, so he's either going to be a politician or a journalist.
Oh, nice.
Now he's stepping on some toes here.
A sportscaster, right?
Well, it's obvious sportscasters have to think.
Well, I guess Michael will just rattle around in the offseason in that 25,000 square foot home he's building.
Boy, Mr. Business, and he does take care of business. And I don't have to say this, everybody in Chicago knows it already. One of the nicest, most unaffected, unspoiled personalities you will ever encounter, despite the unadulterated adoration that he receives.
And of course, it was so emotional to see him really break down emotionally with that trophy in the locker room.
You know, when I talked to him after the whole thing was over, he said to me, and I asked him about the NCAA championship and the Olympic gold medal, and he said, none of it compares to this.
You know, we know everything about Michael from...
See.
Principal owner of the Chicago Bulls, Jerry Reinsdorf.
Well, politicians always get a few boos. Even Bulls management gets an occasional boo.
Jerry Krause.
Oh, poor
Well,
Jerry
he got a
gets
few of those.
smattering of boos there.
There's smattering of boos.
But he's got There's the trophy. That's how to get a hand from this crowd. Carry the trophy out.
Well, he's from North Dakota, but he's Chicago's favorite son now, the coach, Phil Jackson.
That's what the crowd came to see, the Bulls and the coaches.
And now the crowd's beginning to go a little wild with the woofing because they smell the rest of what's coming.
Now they're going to play the Bulls music, the Bulls theme song, and start the smoke machine. Here comes the spectacular. And now, your Chicago Bulls.
A rookie from North Carolina, Scott Williams. From Vanderbilt, Will Perdue. Of Ohio State, Dennis Hobson. From Wichita State, Cliff Livingston. From the Chicago area and Long Beach State, Greg Hodges.
I tell you, I wish you could all be here to see the arms go up when these guys are introduced. This is
From Iowa, B.J. Armstrong.
They love that little guy.
Their starting lineup from Clemson, Horace Grant.
Fans might rename this park for him.
A man in the middle, Bill Cartwright. From Notre Dame, the Paxman, Johnny Paxson. From Central Arkansas, Scottie Pippen.
All right, fasten your seatbelts. Look out now.
And from North Carolina, the MVP, Michael Jordan.
proclaiming June 14th to be Chicago Bulls Day and proudly salute our very own NBA World Champions. I'd like to present this to the coach, Phil Jackson, and say to you, to Phil Jackson, the assistant coaches, the entire team, and especially their families, you represent the best on and off the court.
Thank you, Mayor, on behalf of the team and this organization. The fact that it's Flag Day, we accept.
Each one of the players be given to the mayor at this time.
These are the banners that you see up and down Michigan Avenue celebrating the 1991 NBA championship, the city banners that are downtown and along Michigan Avenue, and each of the 12 players is being presented with a banner. Just a token of the city's esteem.
I'll tell you, those will be treasured by all those players and coaches. They're beautiful things. You can see them up and down Michigan Avenue, I think, and a couple of other places out on the west side near the stadium as well. That'll be great mementos of this year.
Correct, and the city auctions those next winter, I believe. Little extra way of raising funds. And I imagine those will be going for a premium when the city auctions those. There are many others, of course, that are still on light standards up and down Michigan Avenue and Madison Street. And when they auction those off, they'll go for a pretty penny.
This victory was not only savored by everybody in the city of Chicago, but everybody in this great state of Illinois. Representing them are Governor Jim Edgar. Jim Edgar, please.
Thank you very much. It's indeed my pleasure, on behalf of the 11.5 million people of the state of Illinois, to express our appreciation to the Chicago Bulls. And today, I'd ask Coach Jackson if he'd stand forward to present a proclamation that we're proclaiming June 14th, 1991 as World Champion Chicago Bull Days in the state of Illinois.
Thank you, Governor. It's our proud honor to accept this organization. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Let me bring up two guys, the odd couple, but they worked hand in hand. One a big man, one a little man. General Manager Jerry Krause and Coach Phil Jackson.
All right, I've got the greatest sports fans in the world, you Bulls fans. There's some people behind the scenes that do great jobs, and I'm going to introduce them for a second and let you know who they are, because a lot of the things that have happened today happened because of them. Our scouts and my two assistants, Clarence Gaines Jr., Clarence, and Jimmy Stack. Jimmy and Clarence, outstanding people. The rest of my staff, and I'd be remiss if I didn't say Karen Stack, who's been tremendous through the years, and we owe so much to. Thank you. And Phil's going to introduce the coaching staff now.
I know there's lots of people to introduce here, but I must introduce my coaching staff, starting with our trainer, Chip Schaefer. The most healthy club in the NBA. All right. To our leg man, the guy that goes out on the road, does all the scouting and the board work, Jim Clemens. The offensive coordinator, the man responsible for the triangle, Tex Winter. And a man who's been called the genius of defense, Johnny Bach. Thank you all very much.
Well, you've heard from the brass, What do you say we hear from a couple of players? All right. Going to bring up a 3-year veteran from Vanderbilt, Will Perdue. Will.
I'd like to say thank you to all the great fans. You guys did a very good job today. And the only thing I can say is repeat.
There's a guy that brought thrills and chills to us around the All-Star team, made 19 three-pointers in a row. Our own local product, Craig Hodges.
I guess so.
Hey, this tastes so nice. We got to do it twice.
All right, Craig. He's been working on that for a couple of days, Rick. I think it works for everybody here. They're already starting to talk about 91, 92, aren't they?
He was lounging in Atlanta, but not this year. A great help to this ball club. Good news, Cliff Livingston.
Man, here's a guy who really made a contribution, especially in the final series.
Be interesting to see what they do with his contract.
I just want to say you guys are the greatest fans I've ever played for. Without you guys, I don't think we would have won a championship. And I just got one more thing to say. What time is it?
That was Cliff's trademark phrase before every game. He'd get the guys around him. What time is it? Game time, they'd say. Then they'd go out and kill somebody.
Probably the most effective center to play in the NBA this year when you look at his team's result. The man in the middle, Bill Cartwright. All I can say,
there you go.
About 12 years of NBA basketball, 9 years of frustration, 3 years of inspiration, repeat.
They really are talking about next year.
Well, that's encouraging.
A guy that had one of the tough jobs all through the series. He's got to play guys 30 pounds heavier than him, but he still shot over 63%. Horace Grant.
Always smiling, Horace.
He's got a lot to smile about today.
Blowing kisses to the hundreds of thousands of fans here.
First, I would like to thank God.
Listen to the crowd. Horace.
Secondly, I would like to thank my teammates for having the confidence. And I would like to thank you fans for giving us the support that we really needed. And definitely repeat. For 2 years, Notre Dame fans haven't been too proud of their alumni. But this year, they're proud again of the World Championship. Johnny Paxson!
Johnny Paxson talking about contracts, Rick.
Yeah.
Here's a guy whose numbers went up like a cash register every time he hit one of those 5 shots he hit in a row in the 4th quarter of the final game.
He's unrestricted now, isn't he?
I can't
Not for long.
my voice.
I know is I've been here 6 years. I've seen the low periods. And I've waited a long time for today. Thank you. We'll be back again next year.
Probably take us that long to clear the crowd out of Grant Park.
It may. One of the brightest young stars in his 3 years in the NBA. He's from Central Arkansas, but his heart is with us. Scottie Pippen!
I just want you all to know that we all as players really thank you all for your support. And this has been a great season for me because my teammates stood by me. But what happened to us last season, and we stepped back up, and we all want you to know that this one is for you. And you can take this with you.
Boy, that's a souvenir for somebody.
You better believe it.
Now you take that home and say this is the one that he threw into the crowd. Who's going to believe you?
Let's hear from Superman!
Now I'd say that he was getting a standing ovation, but then nobody's been seated throughout this whole event.
The money man.
What an athlete and what a human being, huh?
Crowd chanting MVP.
First of all, I'd like to say it's been 7 years
Stand right there, Michael, and soak it up.
It's been 7 years since I came to this city in 1984. When I first came here, we started from the bottom, and we had to work our way up to the top. Right now, to this day, we're on top. I'd like to give thanks to the fans of Chicago. I'd like to give thanks to my 11 other teammates, to the coaching staff, to the whole Chicago organization, and to my family. We did it. It's been a long struggle, but we're going to be back here next year for another long struggle.
For a very, very special presentation, something this city has been waiting for 25 years. I'd like to bring up the owner, Jerry Reinsdorf, to make a special presentation to Mayor Daley.
That's what it's been all about. The O'Brien Trophy.
You want BJ? You got him.
We forgot BJ. BJ Armstrong's got something to say.
I just want to know one thing. How good does it feel, Chicago? Does it feel good up here? I just want to say thanks to all my teammates, all the coaching staff, the organization here, and I'm just very proud to be a part of this situation and what's going on here and enjoy it. In Chicago, we're looking forward to bigger and better things, and hopefully we'll be back here next year celebrating and partying. Hey, I love you guys. Guys, take care now.
Can't be any prettier backdrop for this kind of event.
Yes, Scott Williams.
Want to hear from the rookie, Scott Williams, too. Can you imagine having a rookie season that ends in a championship?
Well,
A free agent, too. Undrafted.
Yeah.
this is great. I just go out there, I show my emotions, you know, this is winning the world championship. But to come back to party with y'all, it's even a better feeling. Thank you, Chicago. One other thing I'd like to say, I got down a lot of times during this season. It seemed like a long year sitting on that bench. And I got support from a lot of you fans who wrote me letters over a long season. And it really paid off because it really kept my mind in the game. I was able to come back in the playoffs and really make some things happen. I hope next year is a much longer year than what seemed like was a long year this year. All right, world champs. We want to bring up Stacey King. Stacey!
First of all, as a team, we couldn't do this without you. And second of all, everybody's already congratulated on everything that y'all did for us. So let's just go out there and have a party tonight, tear up the city, have a great time, and show them what Chicago's all about. Chicago, we love you, so what the hell, let's go for 2.
Dennis Hobson! Dennis Hobson! Yes!
I just want to thank all you fans. You guys are the greatest. You fans you're the greatest. And next year, hopefully we can do the same thing. And we need you behind us 100%. Go Bulls.
Another loving shot of Grant Park from our helicopter about 500 feet up. The official crowd estimate, at least the last one we received, was in the neighborhood of 300,000 people. But again, Dan Rowan, I have to figure it's more than that. Here's
Detroit.
Jerry Reinsdorf, the principal owner of the Bulls.
When I sat in Los Angeles and I watched these games, I realized something very strange was going on. I was able to actually talk to the people next to me. You can't do that in Chicago Stadium. And when the game was over and all the euphoria and all the excitement, something was missing, and I didn't realize what it was until I got back here today, and what was missing was all of you people, all of our fans. I'm not going to throw the trophy.
A good idea.
Good plan.
This trophy was won by an incredible team of players and coaches, but it really belongs to all of you people. And so what I'm going to do now is give it to Mayor Daley. He can keep it for a while at City Hall. And you can all come to City Hall and see it. And then for you Republicans, he's going to give it to the mayor, and he's going to have it at the State of Illinois building, so everybody will get a chance to see this trophy. Mr. Mayor.
Michael Jordan had said the night that they won the championship that he was going to sleep with it. You suppose he really did?
I wouldn't be a bit surprised.
You have seen it. Chicago celebrates the Bulls. And there are some who are trying to leave the immediate vicinity of the Petrillo Music Shell, but not many, Dan Roan.
No, a lot of them are just sticking around to watch the end of this thing. You know, the Blues Fest. Yeah, the Blues Fest begins, well, right after they clear the area, or probably won't even clear the area, but half these people will hang around and see some of that.
Can you imagine having the championship Chicago Bulls as your lead-in?
That's not a bad opening act, is it?
No, it is not. You know, we've had Chicago Fest, we've had Blues Fest, which you mentioned, Dan, is going to be beginning in just a few minutes. This has really been a love fest between the city of Chicago and their Chicago Bulls. Particularly interesting to me, Dan, that there was more than one mention among the 12 players on the team about repeat, let's go for 2, dynasty, and so on.
It was almost unanimous. Now, there's work to be done in the offseason. The Bulls right now, as far as the front office and coaching staff and scouting groups are concerned, are having to get together and get ready for the NBA draft, which comes up in just a couple of weeks.
Who are we looking for?
Well,
what kind of help do we need?
The problem with winning the NBA championship is that you pick last in the first round and the second round, so I don't know what's going to be out there, but Jerry Krause has shown that he's not afraid to take chances. He's not come through every time, but he's certainly done well with some of the people that he's gotten on this club. Scottie Pippen, for instance, was somewhat of an unknown quantity when he was picked high in the first round. I think he was ultimately the number 6 pick. The Bulls wound up getting him in a little deal with Cleveland. But, you know, Jerry will go out on a limb, and down there at 28, really the pressure's off. You're out there trying to get the best athlete you can get. He's done very well with Scott Williams, I'll say that. The Bulls decided to bring him in and eventually sign him for the number 12 spot. And Scotty was a heavy contributor, especially in the championship series against the Lakers. Did a great job inside.
He
people.
really blossomed this year in the later half of the season, certainly. There's been talk of some trades. Stacey King, BJ, Hobson, Livingston, Hodges may be trade bait. What's your take on some of those? Are they going to be around next year?
Well, if you go by the example of the Pistons, even in their championship years, there's been 20 to 25% turnover on the ball club after each of those winning seasons. So, those things happen, and it's true that some of the players didn't play as well as they might have been expected to play, as well as the front office had expected them to play when they acquired them. But, none of that really matters right now. I mean, they can worry about that stuff in a month. Right now, for the Bulls players and the coaches and Jerry Krause and Jerry Reinsdorf, it's time to just sit back and enjoy this for a couple of weeks, and I'm sure that's what they're going to do.
Absolutely, but I also think that they will probably be looking ahead in the not too far distant future. Yeah, let's savor the moment, but there's always, what are you going to do for me tomorrow? What are you going to do for me next year? Allison Payne out in that sea of humanity. Allison, let's check in again with you.
Rick and Dan, I'm doing radio now because I don't even want you to see me. I'm so hot and sticky and sweaty, stuck out here in the middle of everybody. And I'll tell you, I'm really glad the celebration is over, and I hope nobody got hurt because it's awfully hot out here. And there are people standing up against this fence. Some of them said they were being crushed and tried to jump over, and saw some people suffering from heat stroke. Everybody's happy to see the Bulls, but I got to tell you, if we can get some room and clear out of here, we'll feel so much better and really feel like we can celebrate again. Wish I were up there with you guys now.
Yeah, it's got to be hot down there, and Allison brings up a very valid point. I don't think anybody was expecting a crowd this size. The sanitation facilities, even though they were anticipating people to come to Blues Fest, then we have the championship, which we won Wednesday night. Now today we have the celebration, but I don't think anybody in the city of Chicago, even in his or her wildest imaginings, expected a crowd this size or had any anticipation of trying to control it or provide for it.
Probably not, Rick, but I can't say that in front of us, the aisleway from stage to the exit area is jammed with people, and they're moving out slowly but surely, and I don't see any pushing and shoving.
No, I don't either. We expressed some concern earlier in our broadcast when there was a push of people that moved forward, knocked down a chain link fence, and when those things happen, there's a chance that somebody might get hurt. We didn't see anybody getting hurt. This has not been a bad crowd. This has been a very enthusiastic crowd, but not terribly unruly. Part of it is, I suspect, because it's early in the day yet, and the sale of alcoholic beverages has not been permitted in Grant Park, and that has to have helped keep this crowd on the boisterous but civilized side, if we may say it that way. They've sure had a heck of a party here in Grant Park.
I'm sure the players were awestruck when they came out. And there's another look from back behind in the helicopter. You can see, I mean, people are starting to move out toward the fringes of this group. And
slowly but surely.
Yeah, it'll clear out, but it's going to take a while. You know, a lot of people probably aren't in a big hurry to leave anyway. I'd like to sit here and, as we talked about the players savoring some moments, they wouldn't mind staying around here and savoring this for a few more minutes.
Certainly not, having been a part of a little piece of history today. I think it's amazing that there are this many people here, given the fact that it is a weekday afternoon. It's not a weekend. This is a work day. Most schools are still in session. Some are out for the summer, but the Chicago public school system, for example, is still in session. And yet we've turned 300, maybe 400, maybe 500,000 people, maybe more into Grant Park.
Well, if it wasn't a weekend day before now, it's a weekend day now. I can't see too many of these people heading back to work after this.
Probably not. We'll have more of Chicago Celebrates the Bulls live from Grant Park. We'll take a break and be right back.
Because they're from Chicago and they're the world champions.
All right, what is it about the Bulls? They seem to be such a clean team.
Loris Jordan said to us in the locker room after she took a swig of champagne, she said, this is not my proudest moment, and nor do I think it's my son's proudest moment. This is just the beginning. There are many more great things to come. I think she meant maybe a couple of more championships, but I think she was also referring to some more things in Michael's life once he's finished playing.
Spectacular shot by Michael Jordan.
Scotty on the drive, down the lane, in-your-face maneuver. And Pippen able to feed it off to Jordan. Turnabout is fair play.
I got a little spoiled in college. I came in my first year and we actually won a national championship, and ever since then I had to find out what it really feels like to get to be a champion again. So I guess it would certainly cap off a good career for me if I could win a championship, to see the different stages of actually proceeding to win.
It's one of those things that, you know, you just live to tell your kids about. You know, you go in and the Detroit defending champions, and you're up 3 games.
This is a Channel 5 sports special, a celebration of the Bulls championship season. The Bulls, the champs, with Mark Giangreco.
Hi, everybody. I'm Mark Giangreco, and welcome. For the next hour, I want you to just sit back, chill out, roll your VCR, and take it all in again as all of Chicagoland continues to celebrate the Bulls' wonderful NBA World Championship. And true to the title of the special, we got the guys live at Ditka's. That's right, the super fans from Saturday Night Live. Yo, fellas.
Hey, how's it going?
How you doing?
All right,
doing quite well, my friend.
Hey, listen, thanks for letting us eavesdrop on your party there. Tell me, what do you think of this euphoric celebration here in this town?
Well, what do these fans think of this euphoric celebration?
That's right.
We're excited, Mark, but frankly, we were sort of expecting this since last October.
Oh, I see, yeah.
I mean, am I correct, folks? I mean, this entire season was a foregone conclusion, am I correct?
It is, you know, fait accompli, so to speak, you know?
There was no doubt that come June, a certain team would reign supreme over the National Basketball Association.
Yeah.
A certain team known as the Bulls. Over before it began, Mark.
That's right.
That's right. We're just surprised the whole series went 5 games.
Yeah,
frankly, a little disappointed.
Yeah, I think a lot of us are. Well, what about everybody's talking repeat, you know?
Repeat, please.
Absolutely.
It's a fait accompli.
Folks, you got to get used to this. This is going to become an annual affair, so pace yourselves, all right? Whatever you do this year, you're going to have to do it every year for an eon.
We're not just talking repeat or 3-peat or 4-peat or 5-peat. We're talking minimum 8-peat.
8-peat.
Guaranteed.
In fact, the Bulls are going to have to add on another level to the stadium just to hold the banners.
That's right. There are going to be so many retired numbers there, it's going to look like Einstein's workroom.
That's right.
Let's just say that the remainder of this decade is taken care of, my friend.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right.
Amen to that.
It's just that 5th game. I mean, that 5-game series. We just, I wonder when the decision was made to throw the first game to the Lakers.
That's right.
And who made that decision?
Let me tell you this much. There would not have been 5 games because if they would have had the first game played a man that we all know and love is Mike Ditka in a uniform, that would have been, you know, pretty much it.
Had Coach Ditka suited up, it wouldn't have been fair.
He would have suited up, it would have been history.
Ditka could suit up in any sport, and it would be over before it began.
He could do that.
Wouldn't be fair, and he's a fair man. I should remind you that we are coming from Ditka's. The restaurant which belongs to the greatest team on the planet in terms of football, a team which will run roughshod over their opposition come Super Bowl XXVI. Pardon me, still recovering from my last heart attack. I'm talking about a team known as the Bears.
The Bears. Hey, listen, fellas, I don't want to interrupt you, but we got to get on with the show. We'll come back in and check in with you in a couple of minutes.
All right, you're talking about a more salient point, namely the Bulls.
All right, when we come back, look at a not-so-regular season, plus a flashback to the playoffs and Game 1 of the finals. Don't go away.
Used to fire away. He's now 1 for 9. The look away to Livingston. Jordan.
In all the excitement of celebrating the Bulls' stampede through the NBA Championship Series, it's kind of hard to put all the events of the great regular season and the preliminary playoff rounds into perspective. That's our job. So let's hit the rewind button and cue it up to November 2nd, 1990. Here's John Kelly.
25 years of Bulls basketball, and this squad turned the silver anniversary golden. This season's brought us the most wins ever, the ground beef Air Jordan assault at Mickey D's, and hey, who's that behind the Foster Grants? These record-setting Bulls got off to a sluggish start, dropping their first 3 games, including the home opener. In Game 2 of the stadium, Boston's Brian Shaw sent the home crowd away disappointed again, squeezing out a bit of the Irish luck as time ran out. The Bulls rebounded from Celtic shock, strolling through the Garden and blasting Boston by 20. But days later in Phoenix, Kevin Johnson providing the buzzer beater, burning Chicago in the land of the rising sun by a deuce. Sweet revenge came 2 weeks later as the Bulls get a tasty 28-point victory at home against Phoenix. Chicago began a stampede at the stadium, blasting the Clippers by 40 and uncorking a franchise-best home winning streak. During this run, the Raging Bulls worked their home magic 26 straight times, including this holiday victory over L.A.
Bill Cartwright singing Jingle Bells. Jingle bells, jingle bells.
Well, Jolly St. Stacy helped Chicago get into the spirit, a prelude to a bullish Christmas present at the stadium, wrapping up another W against the men from Motown. Jordan continued ripping opponents all year long, filling it up for over 30 points an outing. Meantime, he ripped Bulls Vice President Jerry Krause because they didn't sign an available Walter Davis.
Portland is certainly doing all they need to do to get themselves into a championship caliber team. Too bad we can't do that.
But after pumping up his temper, Michael aired out on MTV.
Michael Jordan in the hot seat all this week. Coming up, videos from Bon Jovi, Sting, CNC Music Factory.
All-Star Weekend was a definite hit in Charlotte. Long bomb master Craig Hodges drilled 19 straight, nailing down the three-point crown. And of course, MJ was having a ball, shaking and baking in front of a faithful Carolina crowd. It was a fun ride while it lasted, but the 26-game victory run at home was stopped by Houston. The Rockets brought Chicago back to earth, leaving the Bulls just a tad frustrated.
You're going to throw them both out, Red.
But that feeling was short-lived as the Bulls continued their assault in postseason. First on the hit list, the New York Knicks. Michael and company wasted little time beating the Big Apple boys, knocking Patrick Ewing and the Knicks off in 3 straight. Victim number 2, Philadelphia. The Bulls continued sizzling, grabbing the first 2 games at the stadium, but on the 76ers home floor, Percy Hawkins nailed this three-pointer and nailed down Game 3 in the closing seconds. The Bulls quickly regrouped, winning the next 2 and taking the series 4-1. Then came time for the Bulls to set themselves free. After being eliminated by Detroit the previous 2 seasons, the team got that monkey off their back and did it in grand fashion. Talking a little trash here and there, the Bulls gave the Dirty Dozen a taste of their own medicine. Taking anything the Pistons could dish out, the Bulls swept the former world champs, body slamming them in 4 straight. Enough said. John Kelly, Channel 5 Sports.
All right, John, and then they waited for the winner from the West. It took a while. The Los Angeles Lakers finally emerged, though, from a tough tussle with the Portland Trail Blazers, and the NBA Finals were set. The city of broad shoulders taking on the city of padded shoulders. The Michael Magic Show. Game 1 at the stadium, and NBC had a chance to show the nation what all the ballyhoo over this big barn was all about.
And now, the starting lineup for your Chicago Bulls!
But quickly, the excitement of a first-ever appearance in the finals gave way to nerves. And as the game wore on, the Bulls and the stadium crowd were worn down by the Lakers' delivery. With 14 seconds left, the Bulls clinging to a 2-point lead, Sam Perkins coolly tossed up the infamous long-distance dagger.
Bulls by 2. You see the clock running down. And Perkins goes for 3. He's got it. He went for the shot from downtown to take the lead.
Still, with 9 seconds remaining, the stage was set for Michael. But
Jordan is down in the paint, being guarded by Worthy. Pippen must get it, and he does. And here is Jordan. 3 seconds remaining, and let's see what the call is. Jordan rimming the basket, the foul against Chicago.
We still have to play the game of basketball. The series is not over because you lost 1 game. You know, we have to be very positive. There's still opportunity for us to get even things up on Wednesday, and you know, we can certainly go out there and win out there. But it's not a point to start to panic.
no, it isn't. We'll take a break, and when we return, we'll feature those fanatics who fancy themselves as the 6th man. We'll be right back.
Here's Jordan on the pull-up. Yes! And the game is tied at 92 with 3 and
You know, I can tell you a lot of professional athletes are no more than mercenaries these days. No matter what they say publicly, many couldn't care less about where they play, just as long as they get the big check. But I think it's safe to say these Bulls do appreciate the Chicago fans and really understand what winning a world title means for the whole morale of this city. Renee Ferguson profiles the people.
On playgrounds all over Chicago, basketball fantasies began to happen, fed by the success of the Chicago Bulls, fed by the desire to do what the Bulls do and feel what the Bulls feel.
To me, it feels like staying in shape, staying away from drugs, you know, having a clear mind. Come out here, do what you want to do.
Well, when I play basketball, I feel like I'm Michael Jordan sometimes. You know, I just feel like a pro, you know, which I'm not a pro, but that's how I feel.
For Denise Jackson, the fantasy was a nephew who seemed to be growing tall. Who says a woman can't teach a boy to be a star?
He said he wanted to be a basketball player, so I hope that he make his goal.
In Skokie, 8-year-old Noah Warsaw practiced his jump shot. But at show and tell one day, he did an imitation of Bulls in time.
He can go in the air and eat lunch and come back. Maybe it's the shoes.
Yo, Professor, how does Mike defy gravity? Do you know?
A Spike Lee commercial explained it this way.
Michael Jordan overcomes the acceleration of gravity by the application of his muscle power in the vertical plane, thus producing a low-altitude Earth orbit.
Or, to put it simply,
it's against the laws of physics and gravity.
On a count of 3, we'll give it a go Bulls, all right?
It all added up to a severe case of Bulls fever for Chicago. Just mention the B word and normal-looking people went nuts.
Boom! Michael, kid! Yes, Michael Jordan. Yeah, we're going to win. We're going to win.
That the team would win was a given.
They got the team, they fried up, and Magic can't handle. Magic can't handle Michael.
I think the Bulls should do it in 6.
And while everyone was sure, Lil Mackin took no chances. She went to the chapel.
What happened to your knees?
Oh, skin from praying.
And so they called on God and cheered on.
Thanks, Renee. Now, let's get back to our championship recap. Game 2 now. No way the Lakers were going to steal this one. This time, it was no secret. The Bulls were over their opening game jitters, posting a third-quarter performance of perfection. John Paxson wound up hitting 8 straight.
Paxson, yes. Pippen off the weave. Played well by Johnson. Paxson open, yes. Chicago Bulls now up by 14. Lakers have to get the shots up a little bit more frequently than the other day. Paxson again. Make it 8 for 8 for John Paxson.
While Michael Jordan clicked off 13 in a row.
Jordan over Scott. Yes. Here's Jordan. Yes. And it counts.
So how do you upstage an awesome run like that? Well, with the shot.
The look away to Livingston. Jordan. Oh, a spectacular move by Michael Jordan. That's 13 consecutive field goals.
You know, went one way, put it in one hand, floated about a 5 more yards, said, well, I don't know. And then he went off against the glass. So, you know, he's just that type of guy. I mean, he can do the impossible, the unbelievable, and it was his game tonight. He really took it over in the second half.
It was just instincts to change it. I changed it to my left hand and was able to get it off. Just one of those creative moves, and sometimes creativity, you just don't know what's going to happen, and in my game anyway.
Yes, unbelievable. I still got a buzz. Up next, more from the Saturday Night Live Superfans live from Ditka's and a whole lot more, so stay with us.
The spin by Jordan and hits on the reverse. Michael saving it for overtime. 2 key buckets.
Still talking about doubles. Let's go back live to Ditka's, where the Superfans from Saturday Night Live continue on. How do you like it so far, guys? Huh?
It's a real exciting segment you have there on the monitor there. We're can I say, Mark? The old lady, real exciting stuff on the monitor.
Yeah, don't you have any old footage of Deborah Norville? You know, there's a woman.
It's a woman. Anyway.
Ooh. You guys eating some food? What do you got?
Hey, this is the way we eat here. It's how it is. What, are you from New York or something?
No.
Gene Greco?
Why don't you go shoot somebody with a crack pipe?
All right.
I mean, you got stuff all over your face. You look terrible.
Hey, easy. That's how Chicagoans eat. That's the way it is.
Pardon moi.
We eat our pork chops at Dick's, which, as you can see here, I don't know if the camera has this. Dick's 1986 pork restaurant of the year. That's it. That's war. And of course, besides the great pork at Dick's, we also enjoy the beers.
The beers. Well, listen, you got any more prognostications about the Bulls?
Prognostications about the Bulls. We were speculating on what kind of competition could possibly make the Bulls season next year interesting.
That's right.
For example, what do you guys think if the Bulls were to be 3 feet high? If they were all 3 feet high and then they played the Lakers.
The mini Bulls.
Mini Bulls.
Maybe the series should go to 7 then. Maybe.
It would go 7 games.
I think the Bulls would still pull it out, though. Say, what do you guys think if the Bulls had to play donkey basketball and the Lakers could run around?
My friend, that is a very sick, warped fantasy, and I don't know if we should touch that.
Well, is Jordan full size when he's playing donkey basketball?
Yeah, Jordan's full size.
I like the Bulls.
The Bulls. You know, I have an observation. The only difference between a Lakers fan and a Bulls fan after that last game was that the Lakers fan was the one with the tears.
I mean, is that the way you guys celebrate? You just sit around and drink and talk and eat?
How do you do it, Mark?
Of course. Well, now we're eating our pork chops. Normally, before every game, we like to dine on the mascot of the opposing team.
That's right.
Like, say, before we play Atlanta, we like to eat hawk. Yeah. You know, before Minnesota, we eat Timberwolf.
Milwaukee, we eat a buck.
What about the Magic or something like that?
The Orlando Magic?
Yeah.
We can't comment on that.
We're not allowed to talk about it.
Okay, guys, chow down. We'll see you in a few minutes, all right?
All right,
Mark, thanks.
Okay.
See you later.
Now, with the Bulls and Lakers tied at a game apiece, the NBA said California was the place they ought to be, so they loaded up the truck and they moved to Beverly. Actually, Inglewood. The Forum, that is. Laker girls, movie star. Anything in mind for the celebrities that sit on the floor here, maybe when you're coming down on a fast break?
I'm going to give Jack Nicholson 5 and throw kisses to the crowd like Diva.
This feature film featured a new hero, that veteran character actor off the bench. Cliff Levingston, we presume.
Jordan only 2 for 8 from the field in the second half. Here is Michael. Rebounded by Levingston. Cliff Levingston continues to sparkle.
The script also had 2 endings. 10 seconds left. The world's most valuable Hugo sputtered up the lane, got the hoop, got hammered, and got the hug. But this time, 3.4 seconds to be exact, Michael made it.
Here's Jordan on the pull-up. Yes! And the game is tied at 92 with 3 4/10 seconds.
Overtime, advantage Bulls.
Here's Jordan. Yes! We're down to 2 minutes left in overtime. The spin by Jordan and hits on the reverse. Michael saving it for overtime.
Yeah, that third game is always a crucial game, and it could be a good rolling block for us. Even though we didn't play that great, we won the ball game. Overtime though, but we won the ball game, and all 3 of the games have been we've had opportunities to win, and we won 2 of them. And the first one, we missed the opportunity with a missed shot. So this team feels good right now to be in this position. But we know that it's not over. We still need 2 wins, and it's going to be tough 2 wins.
Well, I think right now they're saying in the back of their minds that, we got to find a way to, go ahead and put this team away, meaning us. And I think right now the pressure is off of us.
It was Don't Go Away when the Bulls, the champs, continues. We'll show you what players and reporters found themselves doing during the lull out in La La Land.
Weak side attack as Jordan takes the lob off the back pick play and slams it down.
Of course, we are back, and as we continue to relive this championship series, we move on to Game 4 at the Forum with Michael limping in on a bad wheel.
What time is it? Game time!
Totally awesome, dude. Mikey split his Nike in an effort to relieve the pressure on his badly bruised toe, but eventually went back to his old soft shoe, and the Bulls danced away in a blowout. Not even the most magical of moments could lift the Lakers.
Important sequence for the Lakers. Magic, yes, and it counts. Jordan from deep. 25 for Michael Jordan. Teagle. And Teagle now 1 for 6, and it leads to this.
You still want to go back to Chicago?
I want to go back. That's where I live. I mean, but in terms of taking the series back there, I mean, we got a great opportunity to finish it now. I know it's not going to be as easy as I just said it, but we got an opportunity, and that's all you want.
This is the time to get hungry. I mean, we worked for this all season. This is one of the main goals we set forth going into the season. So, I mean, it's time to get hungry. Each night we go out on the court, we want to get hungry and hungry till we win.
But we still have one more game to win, and like I said, this team's not going to go away and hide. They're going to make us earn everything that we get. So we're going to have to get right back at it.
Well, sort of. Now, it certainly wasn't all work and no play in L.A. Michael did manage to get in a round of golf at beautiful Riviera Country Club, while another Bull quickly assumed the role of one of those beautiful people. Monday night, Scottie Pippen was given the VIP treatment usually reserved for a Hollywood TV star. And Scottie was nice enough to let me tag along as we limoed off to Paramount Studios and a guest shot on the Arsenio Hall show.
Please welcome from the Chicago Bulls All-Star forward, Scottie Pippen.
I read a quote from your high school coach. When I first put him on a weight program, I heard a scream. Looked into the weight room, and Scottie was pinned under a 45-pound bar with no weight on it. I knew then he had a long way to go. Is that true?
Well, yeah, it was. I mean, let's get on the coach. My coach, I owed him one, but it was true. I mean, in high school, I didn't want to work for anything. I wanted everything to come easy for me.
Meanwhile, with so much time to kill between Game 4 on Sunday and Game 5 Wednesday night, we found ourselves working a little bit too hard to find a story. Is there a question that hasn't been asked of you yet?
I think I've been asked everything.
What's your favorite? If you were a tree, what kind of tree would you be?
I'll be I'll be a big oak tree.
Who's your favorite Ninja Turtle?
I like Michelangelo.
Read any good books lately?
What's the last book you read?
Last book I read? I guess with Peter Pan. I don't know.
Come to think of it, Peter Pan would have made the perfect Californian. Remember, he never wanted leave us now because the clincher is coming up next.
Area wide open, no one playing. Paxson open again. Paxson open again. He has been unconscious. 18 for Paxson.
Then came the coronation. Game 5 before a rather forlorn Forum crowd now. The Bulls up 3-1 in the series. The proud Lakers beaten down to the point where their majestic leader was actually hinting about retirement. The Bulls could feel it, but they knew they had to be careful. Minutes before tip-off, the Bulls' locker room was subdued, and to a man, nobody in here was about to break his usual routine.
What are you listening to? Keith Washington. A lot of mellow music. You know, I love it. It relaxes me, and it gets me in the right mood to go out and play.
So you're still dressed in your civvies. Everybody else is in their uniform. You wait until the last minute?
This is what I always do. I'm going through my normal routine. I'm not going to rush to do anything differently. This is a great game. I mean, it's an important game, but you just have to stick with your routine, your ritual, and that's what I've been doing.
The clock is ticking. We're getting close to game time. What's running through your mind right now?
Well, the main thing is just you just want to be a little repetitious and kind of do the same things you've been doing all week and just not do anything different and just warm up. We still have to go out and this is going to probably be, I think, our toughest game coming out of the chute, and we're going to have to be ready for these guys right out of the hopper. So you just want to be ready.
I don't see any stoned faces. Why isn't anybody nervous?
I don't think we're nervous. I mean, our backs are not against the wall. We're in a position that, you know, we worked hard for to set ourselves up to be here, and, you know, there's no need for us to get nervous now because this is what we wanted.
Advanced copy of the tomorrow's Sun Time.
Well, it looks great, and, you know, hopefully we can make that come true at least and, you know, go out and do our job tonight.
If there was any doubt the Bulls would win it on the West Coast, it was quickly dashed when James' ankle proved unworthy and Byron Scott could no longer shoulder the blame. For a while, though, LA's fresh troops gave the Bulls fits. Tony Smith had a scoring Jones going, and Eldon Campbell elevated his game to new heights, but not high enough to shoot down the gunner. Pax was prolific.
Stopped by Divac. Paxson shooting. John Paxson. Paxson open again. John Paxson continues to provide the crushing shots
Only 41 free throws taken this year.
And here's Paxson. Paxson open again. He has been unconscious. The Lakers desperately trying to bring it back to Chicago for a Game 6. Paxson, yes! John Paxson again. Final seconds, Magic's three-point attempt blocked. Pippen comes away with it. And the Chicago Bulls have won their first ever NBA championship. The Bulls, greeted by a portion of this foreign crowd as they try to get back to their locker room. For the Lakers, a different story. The Chicago Bulls' domination of this series has to be considered a major surprise.
And he's drinking from the Michael, are you getting let loose now?
I swear, I'm so happy. I'm happy for the city. I'm happy for the team. This is the most enjoyment time I've ever had.
Does this feel as if you thought it would be? Is it more than you thought it would be?
It's more. I never thought I'd be this emotional. But I couldn't hold it back. It's been in me for a while. 7 years it's been inside of me, and I'm just so happy.
You have tears in your eyes now. Do you think you've always had your place in history in this sport and in this nation? Do you think now you've validated your place as the greatest player?
Well, it's hard to say anybody's the greatest player. I'm just happy that for this year until next year, we're the greatest team. We're the greatest team of the NBA right now.
Well, this team is like, we're married to each other. We have our ups and downs, but, we always work things out. When you work things out, good things happen. That's why we're champions.
All right.
I'm a cloud 9 last year.
Yes,
Last year I wasn't even drafted. Now I'm sitting here. I'm with the #1 team in the world.
Yeah, boy.
I love this game.
Yeah, boy.
We're coming back to Chicago. We're going to party. The city's going to be going wild.
I don't demand a lot of spotlight. I think Michael has it. We all have been in his spotlight a little bit. And he started to share it with the rest of us this year, and that's why we won. Because he's willing to step back, stop being Superman, and make passes to Paxson, who knocked him down.
Where does this rate in your life, this championship?
I'll tell you what, outside the birth of my 2 boys who are back home, who I love dearly, this is right up there. I mean, there's nothing better than this.
We came out, we took it. I can say hello to my boys at home, Justin, Jason, James, and Chrissy. We're coming home. #1. And let's hope you stay a Chicago Bull. I don't want to put a damper on the festivities here, but you think that you will be a Bull next year? Hey, write your letters, Jerry Krause, Jerry Reisdorf. Send them in.
Early in my career that you never think you would get to this level, and the Creator gives you an opportunity. And just to be here with such a great group of guys and a great management staff, it's just a great opportunity. I thank Almighty God for it.
We just feel so good. This is for the city of Chicago, and it's for the greatest fans in the world. It's for our families and the greatest coaching staff in the world. And there's so many people. Mark, if I start thanking people, we'd be here all night. No matter what, no one can ever fill your shoes.
No, they cannot do that, and nobody can take my ring away either.
Do you like that label of veteran guy who knows his role?
Yeah, because that's what it's all about. Veterans that know their role, and they're willing to sacrifice the little things for the championships.
You went to that James Brown concert the other night.
Yeah.
You feel like doing a step?
Oh, my God, I feel so good.
It's like the Bulls got even tonight for 25 years of frustration. All the players have had their face slammed in a playoff door. We were never invited to the final dance. Once we got there, we knew what to do.
It's just a great feeling to be able to see a guy like Michael who goes out hard and work every game, and it's just something that we can give back to him, and we can look back down the years and say he won a championship, even though he led the league in scoring for I don't know how many years.
And I know the seating here is bad, but would you like to sample the house wine?
Why not? And celebrate this win.
All right. You've been so proud of your son through his entire life, and you brought him along. Is this the peak?
Oh, no. It may be one of the peaks, but I feel like he'll work even harder to achieve another one.
I love the city. I loved it ever since I got there. They supported me the whole time I was there. I'm just happy that I could do something for them. We can do something for them. And it's been a long time coming, but we brought one to Chicago, and I hope they celebrate the way we celebrate.
Well, it was an honor to be in there, I'll tell you. There is still more to come, if you can believe that, including today's rally around the trophy at Grant Park.
Chicago Bulls have won their first ever NBA championship.
Chronological recap of the Bulls championship journey has reached the present. Today's huge fan rally at the Petrillo Bandshell in Grant Park. Now, if you couldn't be part of the mob scene, you really missed a piece of history. Yeah, it was hot and it was sweaty and loud, and with some 300,000, 400,000, 500,000 people jamming as one. It's a little scary at times, but all in all, a tremendous celebration for a city second. Back, more of those super fans from SNL.
Congratulations to the Chicago Bulls and their great fans. Here it goes.
Commissioner, thank you so much. I'm the least important guy here, but it's an honor to take this on behalf of a great organization and the wonderful fans of Chicago.
Live at the NBC Tower, Anna Ditka is with the Saturday Night Live crew. Hey, was you guys over there by Grant Park today?
Sorry, these people are really loud. What can you do? It's Chicago. Look, we're in the middle of some speculation over here. We were just in the middle of some speculation over here. Gentlemen, what do you think? Bulls versus Robert Fulton in inventing the steamboat. Doubles. Hey, Mark, this has been a real pleasure, but we couldn't help but noticing your hair.
Now, what about?
You might want to consider.
What about it?
Well, you might. It's a little on the weird side. You might want to consider. Can you pan over to that shot of Ditka? You might want to consider taking a cue from Coach Ditka. There you go. Now, Dad is a well-groomed man there. That's right. It's a well-groomed man.
Yeah, you got me there, boy.
He's got it. Dicka's got it. Utter's dumb.
Anyway, come on, honey. He's a great man. Anyway, where's that waitress? Where's that waitress?
Hey, listen, guys.
Hey, did you guys order the beers or nachos?
We ordered the beers.
I understand you guys have some kind of ritual after every game.
That's right.
Is that right?
We have a special ritual to celebrate the fact that we are from the greatest town in the world, a certain town that starts with a C, ends with an O, and in the middle is Hickard. All right. Todd here. Get up. Todd, as you might notice, Todd is wearing his hula skirt and coconut bra. The last time Todd wore this was January 1986. And Todd is going to perform the very ritual he performed when the Bears won the Super Bowl. Go ahead, Todd. The hula dance for your enjoyment.
Bolsa, 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 bolsa. Ladies and gentlemen, Chris Farley, Rob Smigel, and Bob Odenkirk from Saturday Night Live. Thank you guys. You're tremendous. That is it for us. Hope you enjoyed our Little Bulls Championship video scrap pick. For executive producer Bob Vorwald, chief editor Dennis Sampler, and of course, the super fans. I'm Archie Greco. Thanks for watching, and thank you, Bulls.